and welcome to the regularly scheduled Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, September 8th, 2025. Please join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which contains the minutes from our work session on August 25th and the regular session on August 25th.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Councilmember Orris, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the vote unanimous with Vice President Burrell absent. All right, up next is agenda item 2, and that's proclamation 2025-11, and that's for National Preparedness Month. This is in our strategic plan under emergency preparedness, so we wanted to make sure that we raise awareness to that for all of our residents. I do want to thank Councilmember Orris, who in his day job does emergency planning as well with the health department, that helped make sure that we had this on the agenda, so I appreciate that. All right, proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin, National Preparedness Month, which is proclamation 2025-11. During National Preparedness Month, we recommit to ensuring that the Town of Berlin is ready for any challenge that comes our way. We support efforts to keep residents and visitors safe, and we encourage preparation for our shared future, whereas National Preparedness Month focuses on family emergency preparedness and encourages Americans to take simple steps to prepare for emergencies in their homes, businesses, and schools. And whereas September marks FEMA's National Preparedness Month, dedicated to raising awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that can strike without warning. Whereas the 2025 theme, Preparedness Starts at Home, is all about building confidence through simple everyday steps. Those can include like having a storm kit, and there are resources and stuff that the town can push out through social media. Just take a look at those. Also making sure that you are signed up for our Code Red system. The town pushes out emergency notifications and then just important things that folks need to be able to make sure are on their radar. But this proclamation coincides with hurricane season for us and things of that nature. So just stay vigilant, make sure you have the ability to monitor the local weather, and then also know of inclement weather. So then now therefore I, Berlin, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Preparedness Month and encourage our residents of the Town of Berlin to recognize the importance of preparedness and work together to enhance our resilience and readiness. So thank you all, and thank you, Councilmember Orris. Appreciate it. All right, up next is an addition to our agenda, and that's going to be honoring Arusa, who's still with us, but it comes to an end of the summer season, which is also coincides with her internship, but she's still going to hang around with us a little bit to make sure that we accomplish all the great things in the mayor's office. Arusa has helped us. You're going to come up in just a moment. But she's helped, most notably, one of the big projects, getting the street sign auction complete, getting the signs shipped out, really been helpful in the mayor's office on much more than just street signs, but that's a lift that we completed over the summer, and we could not have done that without you. So thank you, Arusa. We're going to give you a round of applause and then another one. All right, so Arusa is on, come on around this way. So you're on summer internship number 2 with us. Maybe we can make it a 3 and a 4. Arusa's aspiration is law school, and we have no doubt that you'll be amazing at whatever you tackle, including law school. But as much as you want to come back, we are willing to have you. You've been amazing to work with. I can't say enough. Sarah leans on you so much that really if we had a full-time role, we'd put you in that too. But we can't say enough about how appreciative we are. So thank you so much. Anything you want to say to anybody that wants to be an intern?
I definitely recommend it. I think as someone who's grown up around this area and, has seen and felt the impact and the hard work that you all put into making Berlin what it is. It's really inspirational, and it encourages me and younger people like me to come back and give back as much as we can to making Berlin what it is. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, what's the best part that you've experienced about local government?
The best part, I think the importance of dialogue, and I think that's why we have town halls. I think the world is in a very interesting place right now, and it's really hard to have conversations sometimes with people, but I think that's what the importance of community is, especially in Berlin. So if we keep these conversations going, you know, the love that we all have for each other and for Berlin will continue to flow.
Can one of you take a picture? Sarah, I want you in the picture. Sorry, Kate. Sarah, come on around.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, but I'm not really letting her go yet.
Yeah, she's on.
It's just the end of the summer.
Yes.
She's going to stick around.
Sarah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Intern for life, maybe?
Well, I mean, as much as I would love to have Arusa as an intern for life, she's got to go out and tackle really good and awesome stuff in the world. So, and yes, it pays better than us. So, no doubt that if you ever want to come and work full-time for the town, there's a place for you.
Oh,
So.
thank you.
All right, let's see. Agenda item 3. These are items for approval. Let's see. Mary, any urge to want to adjust the presentation before items for approval? Nick, do you guys have somewhere you need to be, or?
We only timed it that way because Nick is also speaking to motion 55.
Okay, that's
But I
fine.
mean,
It works.
It's not like it's set in stone, they have to be in that order.
You got it. Do you have, are you okay on time?
Either way.
So, all right, so then let's go to agenda item 3A, motion 2025-53, and that's an MOU approving the Recovery Works program for Berlin, and that's a partnership with Hope for Recovery and Worcester Goes Purple.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to have to respectfully recuse myself from this discussion due to the fact the opioid restitution fund is funded through Maryland Department of Health.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go over to the conference room if someone could get me.
That's perfect.
After we're done.
Yep, no problem at all. Thank you.
You don't have to leave.
Yeah, you really don't have to.
All right, so
Just can't sit
let's,
here.
yep, come forward if you don't mind, Tish and your group. And then anybody else you want to bring with you as well. So I'll run point on this at first, and Sarah chime in if I miss anything. But a nutshell is the town of Berlin had entered into the opioid class action litigation, and through that process, we receive settlement funds. They trickle in periodically. More often than not, we end up with something in our inbox that says another one has been completed. However, at the end of the day, why it matters with what we're doing right now is that it's ended up in a fund called the Opioid Restitution Fund, and the town has access to some money, and then also their leverage. So with that, the funding has to be used in a way that leads to something that helps recovery. And we tried to think about the best way to do that. And what we've settled on is a program in partnership with Hope for Recovery and Worcester Goes Purple that allows the town to work with those organizations to help folks that are in recovery toward getting employment on their resume that hopefully springboards into something that further allows them to the workforce and do well with their lives. So we want to be helpful in that approach. We want to be capable of using the money in what I think is a tangible way to see good, right? And the way that we want to do that is have the employees partner with our Public Works Department to assist with various activities, whether it's events, setting up and breaking down equipment, assisting with the beautification efforts that are going on downtown, whether that's watering, weeding, helping out in our parks, things of that nature. So really, that's why we're here today. Sarah, have I missed anything? Dave, anything that we need to do as far as checking the boxes for the opioid restitution fund?
I think you're good.
Okay. Sarah?
No, I would just add that there's a whole movement, other parts of the state are already engaged in a recovery-friendly workplace movement, that now Berlin would be able to be the first place on the Eastern Shore that is moving in that direction as well. So the town of Berlin becoming a recovery-friendly workplace through, initially through Public Works and then maybe into other departments as well, is just a really great feather in the cap for the town of Berlin.
You all want to talk about how your role would play into that as well, and sourcing the folks that could hopefully be able to apply for something like this?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
I'll
you.
keep it kind of
Very
brief.
good.
I want to start out by saying thank you. If you had told me 7 years ago that we would be here, because I think you were the only one here at the time, I'm in awe. I'm absolutely so excited about this. And so we feel very fortunate that you have brought us in on this as well. Just in a nutshell, we have numerous individuals that come to our treatment facility that are looking for jobs and hands-on jobs, and they're very talented as well. Our part as the treatment facility will just be to initially vet anyone that might be interested. From there, they will go through the same process anyone else would. In Berlin, they will also have the assistance of Debbie being a peer support supervisor, so that we have that open communication between the client, your new employee, and the town of Berlin. And I think that that open communication will help facilitate a very rewarding experience for everybody involved.
I think so too. Can you speak a little bit to how impactful a partnership like this, as far as employment, to get re-employment on a resume, can be for somebody that's in recovery?
Absolutely. Some individuals haven't been employed for some time. And so when you see that lapse in employment, it's very hard to get a job moving forward. So just having that experience, having that feedback, whether it's positive or some negative, something that says, this is how I'm doing, this is how I can do something better, and then moving on from there. I've seen other organizations like this, some of them turn into full-time positions because they are able to prove themselves. So I think that, I think it's just a great start.
Thank you. And during our initial meetings that we've had to discuss this, we talked about the need to bring on partners that are in addition to the town. So anybody that's listening that might have employment where they would want to partner with us, the town would be looking for part-time employment that would then hopefully allow these folks, whoever would be involved in the program, to springboard into something that's full-time somewhere else. If it's the town, that's great. If it's maybe another organization, that would be helpful as well. So anybody that's looking and listening to this, know that we are starting to gauge partner organizations for full-time employment. All right, anything that I may have missed, Mary?
What sort of timeline for employment opportunities? Does it start immediately?
We would want to start in the fall. So the fall starts, I had to, not in reference to this, but I wondered when fall started. That's September 22nd, so right around the corner. But we have a lot of events and stuff in the fall, and then all the way through to like the early part of winter. So we've talked about it. We would like to start as soon as possible. Of course, we'd have to get a candidate pool. We'd have to go through an interview process, things of that nature. But the money's available. Sarah, do you know exactly how much off the top of our heads?
Natalie knows, it's
Natalie.
just over 80.
We have 20,000 in our account from the opioid restitutions received in small portions. Once the program is approved and funds released, there is another 30,000 available for the state of Maryland to the town of Berlin. So we will have approximately 50,000
And this is
to
a
start.
right, and this is not something that we are anticipating drying up. It is a reoccurring revenue stream from the opioid restitution fund that should continue for many years down the road. So we're not going to hopefully start this program and then have funding dry up. We did talk about the fact that other funding might be available, but since we have this readily available, we want to show proof of concept that it works. And then if needed, we can always apply for more grant funding.
How many jobs?
We're gonna start with probably 1 or 2 part-time employees, and then see where, it's new for us, right? So we really don't know what it's gonna take to expend the funding, but we do know we have the workload available to help. So we'll start with 1 or 2.
So are there, with this program, are there stipulations or prerequisites for the candidate that becomes impossible?
As far as,
I'm asking, I don't know.
so like, we'll have a job description associated with the position. It will include certain things, like, we're working collaboratively on what that might look like. What do we allow as far as criminal record, right?
Right.
Then also, what type of educational requirements. We're still working through those details, but for the most part, it'll follow a standard job description, like.
I'm just curious, I mean, when Sarah says that we're the first on the shore, I just was curious as to if there was a template or something that we had to follow, or if there's something.
I think
that
when
people-
Sarah
some of
says first on the shore, as far as an opioid friend, or no, a recovery-friendly workplace.
For sure, that's what I'm saying, is there like a?
Not really, because well, there's a document that outlines what a recovery-friendly workplace might look like. But keep in mind, folks in recovery, hypothetically right now, could apply for many of the jobs that we have.
Well, that's why I'm asking, that's where, I mean, I'm not asking solely for my own purposes, but I know that a lot of people wonder, oh, wait a minute, I'm recovering, what does that mean for me? Do I have to go through this process? And for those that are in the process, what does that look like? Or even for that novice or that person who doesn't know anything about anything, thinking, well, wait a minute, why that did not me? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
I wanna
to
answer
answer that
ask
question,
for
our
all.
feeder for candidates will be Hope for Recovery. We're not like putting this out as a public job description. If you're in recovery, you can apply. It's going to be through a partnership. We have this pool of folks that probably would be very good fits, and then from there, we would interview that group.
And we'll still run our normal background process and stuff, and we'd have those discussions with Hope for Recovery as far as what might not be allowable, but we'll still go through the normal hiring process. So.
And then I think the key thing is knowing that we don't want to totally brand somebody that might be in the program, right? But we also want to make sure that we, as the town of Berlin, in partnership with Hope for Recovery, are really supporting folks through this, right? We understand that folks are in recovery and they need certain things, which is why we really want to make sure that we have that counseling factor built in, and that the folks are still in active recovery with Hope for Recovery.
I think it has the potential to be a win-win for everyone, the town of Berlin, your organization, and the folks that are looking for a new beginning. And I think from a humanitarian perspective, this is really, it checks all the boxes. So I think it's got great potential, and I'm glad the town of Berlin is involved.
All right, well, since it's an item for approval, we are going to open it up to the public. Anyone that would like to comment on motion 2025-53? Seeing none, we'll take action by the council.
Motion to approve 2025-53.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Nur,
Second.
a second by Councilmember Green. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that motion 2025-53 passes with 3 council members voting in favor, 1 abstention, Councilmember Orris, and 1 absent, Vice President Burrell. Thank you. We look forward to continuing. All right, up next is agenda item 3B, motion 2025-54, and that's the declaration of surplus property, and Chief of Police Arnold Downing's going to run the
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We have 3 vehicles that we're actually putting on surplus. To be a correction on the first one, it is a 2016 Ford Explorer with 157,102 miles, a 2014 Chevy Tahoe with 108,803, and a Dodge Charger, which is a 2013, and it has 179 miles. That all will be put on government deals except for the Chevy Tahoe, which we are pushing to make to Chris Field. They are actually in need of police vehicles, and we think that they will be able to go ahead and get some use out of it for a couple of years.
Very nice. Thank you,
They don't
Chief.
want the Duke Boys car down here, this Dodge Challenger slash Sheriff, whatever that thing is.
They actually, and again, that's a plain unmarked car. They need marked police vehicles.
Is there any need for the Explorer as well, or is that not in good enough shape?
It's not in good enough shape.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Anything else?
No.
Any questions for the chief? Any public comment regarding motion 2025-54? Seeing none, let's take action.
Motion to approve motion 2025-44.
With the caveat that the Chevy Tahoe 2014 is donated to Chrisfield.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so I have a motion by Councilmember Green.
Second.
A second by Councilmember Orris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the vote 4-0 and passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. What's that? I asked.
That was what last night's football game.
Oh, man, that was pretty bad. You had to bring that up?
Listen, I didn't even watch it, I don't watch it, but read it like that. I just thought I'd say that.
All right, let's keep on track before we have to deviate to that. So, agenda item 3C, motion 2025-55, the approval of new well test site with Somerset Drilling and DBF and Jamie Latcham there at one point.
Yes.
You want to come up, just because you're going to come up anyway. but not really.
That works.
Yeah, just take a seat.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, so after doing all of our testing over to the 346 East location, we determined that that site is not suitable for another well. So Nick and I sent him all the records for all the town properties that we own. We want to try to stay on the properties we own right now until, because once you start trying to buy property, the value of everything goes up. So right now, we're looking at over in front of Henry Park, that piece of property in the far back corner for the new test well. Matt made a suggestion, instead of doing all the quality testing, to make, the problem was is we can't get the flow out of the 346 test well location. We couldn't get he's thinking less than 400 gallons a minute, and that's not where we want to be. So we're going to try over off of Flower Street, and hopefully between the 600 and 800 gallons per minute is what we're looking for. But he can determine that before setting a new well, and then we're going to go that route first.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing the test wells, because sometimes there's precedent for just drilling a well, and then you spend several $100,000 and you end up with something you can't really use, whether...
Close to $1 million.
Okay, yeah, all right, so a multiple of hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
And so now, are we gonna, even though we want to check the flow, are we still gonna check the water quality?
If the flow is present, yes.
Okay, so first we're doing the ability for flow,
Yes.
and then will we see another one of these for water quality after that?
No, because it'll be under the 10,000 that Mary can approve.
Perfect, okay.
So we can move forward.
But we're gonna do both.
If
we find a viable-
If the viable source of water is there, yes, that's our plan.
I agree with that. All right, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, Nick, anything to add?
Nope, you hit it on the head.
Perfect. Any questions for Jamie or Nick?
Yeah, how deep do you go in the test well?
The 346 test well was about 135 feet. Our main wells are between 115 and 125, so we drilled a little bit deeper, but the quantity was not there. The quality was there, we'd have to do a little bit of treatment, but the quantity was not there what we want.
Would going deeper have made a difference?
Then we were looking at a good substantial increase in budget because of iron and probably have to build a treatment plant for water. We're trying to stay away from that right now because we have 3 wells in town that need no treatment other than 2 chemicals.
They're all pretty shallow.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions for Jamie or Nick? Okay, any public comment regarding motion 2025-55?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Do I have a small way?
No, but you do need to state your name and your street name, not address.
Okay, my name is Gussie Schultes, and I live on Washington Street, or 103 Washington Street. I'm just curious, so are we running out of water?
No, so this is designed to, we did lose a well over on Branch Street, and that dropped us down, right? And thankfully, we didn't have any major incidents that really required high demand in water, but this is going to make us more capable of serving Berlin's needs, right?
And where is that drill, where is that well, where did you drill?
So The first test well was over by the hospital, and that one didn't pan out. Kind of close to where the water tower is now. That didn't work out. So rather than, as Jamie said, going deeper and then requiring further treatment, we're going to discontinue the idea of putting a well there and look somewhere else.
And one of the
Does that
main
make sense?
driving factors was the fact that the town already owns the land. We're not looking at land that we don't own.
Okay.
Right.
I just got thirsty.
We still have plenty of water. There's no need to worry about that, but
We're all gonna become gamblers.
we're trying to make the town more resilient, so we can have more, just,
I got you, I'm just.
And truthfully, in addition to another well, we need another water tower. Because the rule of thumb is you want to have what?
24 hours of storage in the air,
And we don't have that.
and we're just under it.
Yeah. So ideally, we would do the well, but then we would hope to have the room enough to be able to put a water tower wherever we put the well.
Gotcha.
But they're two separate projects. Any other public comment? Yes, Ms. Marie. Just name and street.
West Street. I just wondered, are you looking at any depletion of the aquifers when you're doing the
Yes,
well?
yes, we're taking that into account too. We're hoping that,
Pumping.
we're not in the same, we're in the same aquifer, but we're far enough away, it's replenishing itself, is what we're hoping.
Okay. And is this because of development that we're having to do this?
No, well, to my knowledge, it's not. The reason we really want to do this is because having another well, most of our wells are what are the age on the well?
Well, other than Branch Street and what we just put in, I mean, most of our wells are 1950s,
And the
47s.
and the one we lost was in the 40s.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure is not really something that we feel comfortable saying, all right, let's not drill another well. We were in a position where one of our largest wells was out of service, and that led to us having to plan for what happens if we had to ration water, right? We didn't have to, but we don't want to really be in that position as a town.
Are we sizing the new stuff to take into account our growth?
Yes.
Way to go. Any other public comment? Marie, are you thirsty? Let's get water all the way around. All right, let's see. No other public comment. Let's action the item if you don't
Motion
want.
to approve 2025-55.
So a motion by Councilmember Orris, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the motion 2025-55 passes unanimously. Thank you. Up next is item 4, which is a presentation on West Street project. You'll probably remember that we embarked on adding some design work and early analysis of West Street as far as, Mary, you like to say soup to, what is it? Soup to nuts. Basically what that means is we're going to hopefully see what it takes to improve the infrastructure that's underneath of West Street, water, sewer, electric, stormwater, and also fix the roadbed itself and add some safety components such as sidewalks. So we put that design work and early analysis in the budget, and Nick's here to report on where we stand. So thank you, Nick.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Nick Bradley with Davis Bowman Fidel, here to give the update presentation for the West Street Roadway Utilities Improvement Project. A brief history on it. You are entirely correct. The original scope was actually for a desire to have a bike lane on West Street. And during the initial planning and design steps for it, it became very obvious to everybody within town that the existing utilities and infrastructure would need to get repaired and replaced as part of this project.
And just so that we're aware, the reason the request for a bike lane came up was because we had heard citizen concerns over safety and walking West Street. So we discussed, is there ability to add some sort of a area where people can still walk and bike in addition to having car traffic, but it turns out there isn't, without really addressing the overall street itself. So.
Yep. If you're going to spend the money to make the improvements on the road now, that's going to last 10, 20 years, you should probably invest in the utilities that are going to fail in that time frame. So the original scope kind of get broken up into three categories. Public safety and conveyance being the first one, bike lane creation, as well as sidewalk along the eastern side of West Street. The second category would be improving and replacing the existing water and sewer utilities. There are 3 pump stations located along West Street, the largest of which is located south of Olive Branch, and it's located within the roadway. So the main focus would be getting that outside the roadway and into a spot where it's more easy to maintain. The existing water would be replaced as well as extended down Buckingham Lane to pick up the houses that are down on Buckingham Lane that are currently not served. The last category would be to help address the flooding issues that are along West Street, mostly focused at the intersection of Abbey and West Street itself. So that's kind of the original scope. Here's a quick map of the layout of the road and kind of the scope of the original project. As you see, we start off at Washington Street and follow West Street all the way down to Evans Road and Buckingham Lane.
And the reason, let's just pause there. The reason we're starting at Washington and headed south is because from Broad to Washington was replaced, around when? I'd say
6-7 years ago.
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead.
Also on this map, the existing larger pump station located within the roadway is shown, as well as the proposed pump station location. That's located on the Board of Education property, which the Board of Ed's already provided an easement for that relocation. As we started progressing through the design, it became apparent that we would need to approach this through a phased approach, breaking up into 2 phases, mostly due to the increased costs in order to address all parts of the scope. Phase 1 is going to focus primarily on the pump station replacements, as those are actively getting worse condition. And in order to maintain them, you have to shut down part of West Street in order to access them. This is a breakdown of the phasing from the original scope. As you can see, in red is phase 1, so we'll primarily focus on the north end of West Street, really focusing in on the pump station relocation, as well as the 2 pump stations that are on the north side of Olive Branch being consolidated. They're a lot smaller, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Phase 2 would be the remainder of West Street, as well as the expansion over onto Buckingham Lane. Phase 2 would also include the sidewalk expansion as well as part of that, because of just kind of the scale and scope of the project. Digging into phase 1 a little bit more, this is really becoming a West Street pump station relocation project. As I said before, the existing larger West Street pump station is located within the roadway and is very difficult to maintain. The town's already sending out people to work on it and repair it once every 1 or 2 weeks. When they do so, they have to shut down part of the road. And it becomes more of a headache and more of a hassle to maintain as the time goes on.
But it doesn't only inconvenience us, it inconveniences the electric department too, because there's a lid. Tim has to send a crew out too to help pull the lid off. So we're tying up 2 different departments, their department too.
And this is already something the equipment we've already actioned for. Did we action?
Yes,
we did. We definitely let them know.
Signed an agreement with them to purchase.
To lock in a price that we knew was going to increase very shortly and very significantly.
Okay. So that's all on the south side of Bottle Branch, where Bottle Branch crosses West Street. On the north side, there are 2 pump stations. One is owned by the town. It's very small. I believe it serves about 2 houses. And the other is privately owned and serves also 2 houses. As part of this phase 1 project, we'd be removing both of those and consolidating the system to one E1 grinder pump to be able to serve all 4 houses down there. In addition to that, we're going to go ahead and replace the aged water and sewer utilities that are located around where we're already working and cutting up the road. This is just to avoid having to do so in the future. Phase 1 is currently in design and permitting and is moving along at a pretty quick pace. The current construction cost estimates for it is approximately $1 million.
Can you get the microphone
up closer to the camera.
Oh,
We're having a hard time.
Sure, sorry.
Thank you.
Can you just repeat phase one, please?
Repeat all of that.
I'm here for it.
We have plenty of water. I hear we have plenty of water.
Slide 6.
Is this good?
Yes.
Can you hear?
So much better.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry. Thank you. Feel free, if something like that's going on, don't wait until the last
Oh,
one.
I'll tell you.
Can you just repeat slide 6, please?
So digging into phase one of the West Street Pump Station project, the main focus is to get the existing pump station located within the roadway, outside the roadway to a point where it's easier to work on and repair. The current existing one is degrading at a pretty fast pace. The town's already sending out people, crews, every other week to keep it running as it is now. That is all located on the south side of the intersection of Olive Branch and West Street. Located on the north side, there's 2 smaller pump stations. One is privately owned, and the other is owned by the town. As part of the phase one project, we'd be replacing both of those and consolidating them into one system to help reduce maintenance costs on private parties as well as the town. Also included in phase one is a replacement of the aged water and sewer utilities that are already located in the areas that we're disturbing by relocating pump stations. Lastly, phase one is currently in design and permitting and moving along pretty quick. And the latest construction cost for phase one is roughly $1 million.
Thank you. Now with that, Jamie, how much of this $1 million is in what's already been approved for the?
The lift station was, so we budgeted 1.5 million for engineers' costs too in that.
Right.
But the lift station was 135,000 if I'm not mistaken. 137,000. So we should have about 1.35 million left to complete the project.
Okay. So from a budgetary standpoint, we're looking okay with this number or no?
I feel we're well sufficient with the number.
Should you two talk?
We have,
They talk.
Because the eyes of the one behind you, just imagine the response of the one in front of you.
yeah, I mean, I feel, in my eyes, I mean, some of the stuff we've had go out here lately has actually come in a little under what their budget's been.
So we should be give or take close.
Yes, I'm thinking between 1 and 1, or 950 and 1.1 million for the, so, but some of the equipment's already bought.
I always go above because the cost
Right.
rises every day. That's my eyes up here. So right now, as of right now, we're budgeted. But
Okay.
as we proceed in October, we will stay within the budget.
Okay. I mean, but right now, we're okay to move forward, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So just to be clear, on phase one, it does not include sidewalks from, the continuation of sidewalks from Washington Street to the.
Underlying infrastructure, basically, for what?
Yeah, so it's, I just wish there was more for the residents to get excited about this project. I mean, because it's really, I mean, it has to be done, right? But it's, I wish we could carve something out of this first phase, because phase two is anything but a certainty. For us to have,
Well, let's get to phase two, and then let's talk about maybe some strategies that we can do together about achieving it. That's the exciting part.
Right, it is, but it's just,
It is
Down
important
the
to
road.
remember that ideally, we would have waited even to do the pump station until we were really ready to tear up the whole road.
yeah.
But it's not going to work that way because of the work that they are having to go back on a regular basis and do
Yeah,
to keep putting Band-Aids on it.
Sure.
So we want to get that out of the way.
absolutely. I understand the need.
What's the timeline to start this project and complete it?
I'm thinking we should be looking to go out to bid in December, January, probably start the project March, April,
That sounds about right, yes.
and hopefully complete it by October, November next year.
And honestly,
There's a mess of, there's a mess of work going to be there, and it's a fairly large lift station. That lift station's average, last time I looked in the panel, I think anything was ever done to it was 1972, if I'm not mistaken, or 71. So we've paid, it's paid its dues. And, we've done a mess of work to keep it going, but I'd like to keep moving forward because
So do you anticipate having to close the road for
at times, yes.
lengths of time?
Mhm.
it would require a full road closure. for
Yes,
significant-
but we can do a lot of the work, get the new lift station installed, and then reroute everything to it, and not have to close the biggest closure is going to be is when we have to
Tear out
the old one and tie in the sewer and the force main, really the force main and the water main to what's underneath there.
Right.
Now, I mean, honestly, looking at the price tag of this, it's much less than what I expected. I expected.
For the whole
Phase
picture.
1 and phase 2. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting 10.
As was I.
I mean, I think that's what we were
Oh, yeah.
kicking around originally. So this is much less and much more attainable than I thought that it would be. So, all right, let's progress to number 2, phase 2.
You don't foresee digging in, getting in there and then being like, oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
I go back in now, it's 25 million more. You don't foresee anything.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, we're digging into stuff that's not well located.
And that's not been really explored.
And we really saw that over on Franklin Avenue. I mean, Franklin and Pine and all that stuff, we thought we had one thing, but we're digging, yeah, I mean, it's really Pandora's box that we're gonna try to open up.
What I would-
Obviously, we don't know that one now.
Yeah,
Obviously.
for sure.
What I would
We'll
say-
do, DBF's done their due diligence of surveying everything, and we will do our due diligence in video and everything to make sure that we know most of where everything's tied in, but, West Street does serve a very
Yeah.
large portion of, it doesn't only serve, everybody thinks it serves West Street lift station, West Street.
No.
It serves Henry's Mill, Henry's Green, West Street, Abbey, Westminster, Upshur, Buckingham, Tingle Middle,
It's got a huge lift.
Yes,
It
yes,
definitely
ma'am.
does.
and it is a very, there, if something happens to it, it's complex.
But I mean, we can't expect, even with the diligence that can be applied to the best laid plan, we're still opening something up that has not been opened in,
30, 40 years, 50 years.
if not longer.
Yeah.
I mean, so we are likely to find things that are gonna be surprises, and we just need to plan for that.
Yes, sir.
Let's
I
go to
would say-
phase 2.
That's state plans, yeah.
I would say, to help ease any concerns, the sequence of construction for phase 1 is set up such that it would be limiting the amount of disturbances to the roadway as much as they can. Moving on to phase 2, the West Street roadway improvements, now focusing on the larger part of West Street as a whole. The primary concern would be to fix the existing flooding issues. Reason being is if you don't fix the flooding issues, anything you install there is just going to end up breaking up over time, and you're going to decrease the value of whatever you install if you don't address the flooding issues first. To do so would require the upsizing of the existing storm drain network system. Essentially, all of the existing pipes are undersized for the area that they serve. Looking into it, basically, I get into that on a different slide, so I'll wait till that later. But as part of phase 2, not only are we upsizing the pipes, we're also having to install an offline detention facility. Essentially, when you upsize the pipes, you need to move that water somewhere else to detain it off-site before it goes wherever it ends up going off-site to. Really, you're just trying to make sure you're not flooding anybody else downstream from wherever you're moving the flooding from.
What's the best or ideal location for that type of retainment?
That would, for West Street itself, an offline detention facility would need to be located downstream of Bottle Branch, where West Street interconnects to it, or located near Bottle Branch along West Street.
Okay, so near, go back to the
Yeah,
map.
give a sense of.
So in essence, where you see that dark line that weaves around between, right there by phase 1, that's where, kind of where we need to be.
Yep, so Bottle Branch there.
There's not a lot of room there.
No.
There's not a lot of room.
So how do we do that?
That would require the purchasing of property that the town, to my knowledge, does not currently own in order to install a offline detention
Some
facility.
of those homes and their property lines are like right there, like there's not a whole lot of land to work with.
Can you make improvements to Bottle Branch to have better flow, to accommodate this?
So that's, That's a nested question there a little bit.
Is there a
It gets
way-
very complicated very quickly once you enter Bottle Branch.
What
But
about, okay, so part of Jay's question tied in with looking down at what the school system has. Is there a way to partner with their stormwater facilities that they may need and address some of the retainment that we need?
yes, that's a possibility that would just require some coordination and discussion on that part.
But I do believe the schools have, they have their own complex issues too.
Right.
What I would,
Right, but can we maybe work together on our complex issues? Or no?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I think it starts to become a matter of capacity, whether the school property will support a facility that would also support our stormwater.
But to Jay's point, can we improve Bottle Branch from west to Main Street in a way that it can hold some flow?
yes, it would require an offline detention facility still.
As
You wouldn't be
big
able
or-
to
So
widen.
what are we talking size-wise? Size-wise, though, this, right, that's what I'm saying, what does it look like? Because, I mean, if you think about them, we have them in several places right now, right? We have
Yes,
these
like
little
stormwater ponds,
Exactly, so
yeah.
my thing is.
Our biggest one would be over behind the multi-purpose building.
Right.
Right, so
But that's not
would it
to
be
cut you
anything
off.
that size or
It'd
smaller?
probably be something close to that size. if
That's
not
what I
bigger.
was wondering, like.
Because
how-
you're draining a very large area. But you all, I shouldn't say this, but you gotta understand one other thing. Our main sewer line that discharges to the spray site runs through the school's property. Runs along that ditch. So we have to be careful that that's our heart.
But now,
That
is
is our,
there,
that is our heart pumping our veins.
right, but is there a way to like reduce the flow? Like, the flow that goes through there is a lot, and it's a lot at one time. So is there a way to use like stops that keep the flow kind of backed up, so then you end up with like a tiered descent? I'm a lay person when it comes to engineering a stormwater system, but is there a way to kind of stair step that flow to slow it down?
It could be possible to do it that way. I couldn't speak to if that's a valid option or not. That would require analysis of Bottle Branch as a whole.
Well, we
Well,
want
and I-
this
this
was
is
a good point for me to come in.
That makes you a
Well, I think this is a good point for me to come in.
Coastal Basin is
because-
already looking at it.
Yeah, so are you in, I guess, you are in contact with Coastal Bays because they have a grant, I don't want to speak out of turn, but they have a grant to address Bottle Branch. And they are also working with the school and the town. And I would think that this would probably be a good opportunity for our three complex issues amongst everybody to kind of go on this. And this is a good opportunity, I think, to address that with them as well, bring them into the fold. And them, I mean Coastal Bays, because they have I believe it's a 5-year grant to clean up Bottle Branch.
Our stormwater engineer is working
So,
with them.
okay,
Yes.
right. Well,
And they're very well aware of it.
yeah, so.
Nick and
I
Darrell
think that-
or Stephen have talked
Now,
about.
what about this too? Like, is there a way instead of, so we're looking at the flow headed to the north, right? So from south to north.
Yep.
Is there a way to build something where land might be more available to the south that will still allow us to meet our retainment needs?
So there's a relationship there where the higher upstream you go into your drainage area,
Right.
the less effective you're going to be able to install a facility to have an impact downstream.
Okay.
Just because of the amount of rainwater you physically get there.
Right, all right. So the answer to that is likely no, where we see
Yeah, right.
the parcels there. Okay, what about in the realm of like Abbey Lane, where we have the offline, well, the retainment pond really, that is where Abbey Lane is and it kind of butts up the Upshur. Is there any way to combine the improvements to that along with some stuff to Bottle Branch to handle the flow?
We did look into that with EA. The existing retention ponds there, I believe, were undersized for what they were serving.
Right.
And there didn't seem to be enough
Microphone.
space.
Can you talk? Sorry.
There didn't seem to be enough space there in order to do that.
Okay, so between the two, so you're, and I realize EA is the stormwater engineer. However, in your analysis, you looked at the retainment ponds that are at the end of Abbey Lane, as well as the retainment pond that is on Upshur. and there's no way to make those work better to handle that flow plus mitigate a little bit of the increased flow from upsizing the pipes on West.
Well, EA did write a grant to try to do that.
Right.
And we didn't succeed.
We got denied.
We didn't succeed, but I mean, that they are still actively looking at that, so that could help. And I'm no engineer, I'm just a turd herder. So, I will tell you that the stormwater at Abbey and Westminster and all that in there, if they corrected that, it would help them at West and Abbey, but I don't think it would help downstream as much as everybody's hoping.
Okay, so a combination of that combined with some work on Bottle Branch. I mean, my kicker is we don't have a lot of land down there.
Right.
And it's not like we don't have a lot of land, but we can talk to somebody about acquiring land. It's really the land doesn't really exist.
That's correct.
So,
And the important thing to remember too is that you can't just look at a parcel of land and go, we'll put it there. Because if the flow doesn't somewhat naturally get there, it's not going to help.
right.
You can't simply dig ditches wider and deeper and expect to solve your problem. It's much more complex than that.
So if we had to build an offline wetland or retainment area, what will that do to our $1.2 million price tag in phase 2?
So the $1.25 million price tag of phase 2 excluded the cost of upsizing the pipes and purchasing the property. So
What are we looking at if we add that? Like the upsizing the pipes, not the purchasing the property? 20%, 30%, double,
I'd say double.
double?
Double
Take a
double
wild
is a
guess.
safe bet.
So 1.5?
Yeah.
Okay. No,
2.5.
2.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 1.25 that we have in here is basically
Sewer and water.
sewer and water and sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
And roadway restoration.
And roadway restoration.
Now, you can blame me. I did tell Nick to not
No,
put the
it's-
stormwater in there
it's fine.
because I told Nick, I said, because we really don't have we can't put a price tag on it.
Yeah.
We do not, they could do their best, but we don't know where we're gonna put the water.
It'd be
first.
speculative.
It would be. And I don't
And I'm
want,
not gonna hold you to
and I don't want I don't want everybody to think that, well, you said it was only gonna cost us 2 million and now we're looking at 3.5. I'm just shooting numbers out there, so.
The stormwater is its very own, very separate issue.
All right,
It's very
so,
fluid.
One question about the pipe, you're going from what size to what size?
The storm drain?
Yeah.
So existing out there is 24-inch diameter concrete pipe and a little bit of CMP as well. Unfortunately, with the existing grades, there's not a lot of fall, so we can't increase the slope of it. So the only way to get greater conveyance is a much larger pipe. And we ended up calculating out, and it would require a box culvert for most of West Street in order to handle the flows that go to it.
So a lot of times the water would just sit in the pipes.
Yes.
Yep. The pipes just can't convey that much water, and then you end up with flooding upstream.
all right, can we go back to the map? That one?
Yep, the
Is
box
there-
culvert would offer a lot more conveyance within the pipes, like a 3-foot by 5-foot box on the ground.
Is there value in phasing this in more than 2 steps?
I think you.
When addressing the stormwater, yes.
So is it worthwhile, like chunking out a phase from Washington Street to Abbey or Washington Street to like Buckingham, West Buckingham Road, and then West Buckingham to Abbey and then Abbey down? Is there value in that or not really?
There'd be difficulty with, if you don't do the retention facility first, and then have it all planned out, so you size the retention facility for everything else coming down.
So do the retention, so like if we're looking at this, right, so phase 1's in the works, right?
Yep.
If we want to add a new phase 2, it would be establishing where that offline retainment facility would be.
Yes.
MDE is going to, any upgrades or anything to infrastructure and B is going to want to make sure your stormwater's in place before you do anything
Okay.
else.
So
phase
So
two,
it
that
does
would-
make sense to put that first.
So can we develop a new plan that has phase one being what phase one is? Phase two being the retention, and then phase three could be,
Sidewalk, street, water and sewer.
yeah, that might even be a heavy lift in one swoop.
Yeah.
I think you gotta break it up.
Well, it is a heavy lift, but you don't want to rip the road up, do the water and sewer work, and patch the road back, come back to it 2 years later.
Yeah, but can't we do it
That's part of the
incrementally? Like, I realize it'd be a little bit of a pain, but
You would be connecting new services, I use the term service loosely, new
Well-
water sewer lines to old lines.
If you did it to intersections, I think you would be okay.
Okay.
If you did it to intersections, but, you know, I agree,
it's a lot to fit.
it is, but
But there are enough intersections.
To everything that's a lot of
You
people-
do, you have one here, you have one there, and then you have another one. It's kind of chunked out into
Yeah.
quarters.
the only thing I'm scared of is
Breaking it up too much. That's not.
the sewer's in rough shape, and I'm gonna put it out there, plain and blunt. We fixed 9 spots on that street. We fixed valves, it's seen its life expectancy.
So then Natalie, what about a bond to do it all? Is that maybe the best way to do it or no?
Not for the sewer fund.
Okay, what about if it's spread across the funds, like sewer, water, is there any electric to it or no? Everything electric to overhead, right?
Once you start getting to the sidewalks, I think you'll be touching electric.
Yeah.
But sidewalks and roadway would be general fund.
I'm just saying from a bond
Yeah.
issuance standpoint, I agree, like the sewer fund can't handle it all, but is there a way that we take it on the general fund side and divvy it across the fund?
Well, the sidewalks and the closing the roads, I would think fall all
General
under the
fund.
general fund. Hopefully, state highway revenues would help a little bit.
Right.
Highway user revenue.
Well, highway use.
Is there a way to use HURs moving forward for like debt service?
Not exactly, no.
Not exactly as in
You
the
cannot
state.
repay the debt with the highway user. You can improve the roadways and build new infrastructure.
So debt service on street improvements is not an available use of
It's not-
HUR.
Yes, it's not.
Can we bank HURs at all?
You can save them, yes, for the future project.
Yeah, that's gonna
I
take a
know, that'll
while.
take a long time
So,
to get where you want.
all right, so maybe a question that we can ask our state folks is, can we work to maybe make debt service on street projects an allowable use for HURs? Right? I'm not saying we can get it done, but it'd be a good question. Okay?
So the new school has a significant impact on West Street, traffic, use of the street. At what point do we loop the county in and ask for funding to help pay for all this?
I don't think that that's something we should not do. I agree.
So don't use a double entendre, just say, I think that we should do that.
I agree with you, Jay. We also have talked about the need to study the traffic flow and impacts. I think that once we get the metrics back from something like that, it could show, hey, look, the use now is this, the future use is that, the cost to improve the infrastructure driving on, I'm sure it's not gonna make it any better.
But we know sidewalks, bike lanes, they should cover those costs, including resurfacing.
A portion maybe, yeah, I don't disagree.
Are they gonna touch that squeaky wheel though?
What do you mean?
I mean, I hear you when you say, we should reach out to the county to do this part, and we're talking county as in, county like Worcester County or?
Board of Education.
Well, I didn't know which entity we meant, because I didn't know if we meant county as in school
I think
board
we
or
hit them
county
both,
as
honestly.
in
Sure.
commissioners, because
I think we hit them both.
I really like that idea of trying to do it all, you know, whether it's a bond. It's the first I've heard of that idea, but I like it a lot. Phasing, I mean, I know we have to phase things, and but we still have all of this infrastructure badly needed. That case has definitely been made, and the patchwork that's been done with the sewer along the whole road, the flooding, of course, has been going on since I was a child. And I would love the idea of being able to bond the project and take it also, the thing that also concerns me about phasing is this council is going to change in a couple of years. And I don't want priorities to be changed with new individuals that maybe don't share the same perspective that we do on this. So I personally really like that idea of trying to bond it. If we can.
One thing I would ask, because it's kind of an elephant in the room from my perspective, is that even a possibility, Natalie? We already have existing bonds.
Sewer fund is not really in a good place to go and issue another bond. The bond is not the issue. The repayment of the bond is an issue, the annual payments and how to generate revenue going forward. So that's the first thing need to be decided, whether we are addressing this. Going and getting a loan and a bond, that's always an option.
The debt service, how to pay the debt service.
Hold on one second though. We just went to the bond market for about
Went for the public-
$3-ish million.
Right.
What's the debt service on that? Like
This
give or
one-
take about 160, 170,000.
Right, the structure is a little different for that particular bond. We draw as a reimbursement basis, so we don't pay the full amount of interest. We got lucky on that. But
Right.
if you're talking about the project of that intensity, we're talking about a large amount of money. And water and sewer, yes, water is a little bit better capacity because there is no debt currently. But don't forget, we have a lead replacement going on as well, where we're gonna go to the bonding out there, underwater fund. So sewer is gonna be tough to get approved for a large fund.
So what happens if we take this approach? What happens if we talk to the county, commissioners and school board about sharing some of the costs? What happens if we explore what type of bond issuance we would need to do and kind of what that payment would look like? And I would bank on $3 million.
I
think that's fair.
I would say
I have 4.
more.
Why don't we bank on 3 and hopefully get some assistance with the remaining? That has us taking on hopefully 75% or more. And then what we'll do is we'll talk and see if we can get, because HURs, we get probably 170, 180,000 at least a year, right?
Right.
So if we can get debt service as an allowable use, we're not the only ones facing this. And the cost of improving that infrastructure is going up, not down. So allowing folks to be able, like the town of Berlin, to use HURs to pay debt service on a project makes sense, right?
I see a problematic puzzle only the stormwater right now.
Right, but, so if we brought on the debt to the general fund,
It's
right?
gotta fall onto the stormwater. You close your streets, you build your sidewalks, you do
Okay.
everything else, that's gonna fall onto the general fund.
I see what you're saying.
The
Yeah. So
stormwater, you're looking about fixing the problem
Yep.
of the pound first, which is the stormwater facility and capacities falling under stormwater utility.
So then could we, and reasonably speaking, if half of the costs or doubling the cost would get us to what we would need potentially for fixing and upsizing the stormwater side, the stormwater fund can't handle $1 million in capital costs or debt service.
No, that's why I think we should look into working as collaboration with the communities around the school and everything, because
Can we
that's-
use the microphone? I can't hear.
If that bring into what you just mentioned, the school is putting strengths on the pond and the communities around, that's what we have to look at, stormwater.
Does the school not have in its site plan a stormwater detention facility
They do in the new one,
in the new one?
yes. As of right now, they don't have to have the stormwater because the building's so old.
In the new one, is that different from the, how new is the new one?
So what you're saying is, what Jamie's saying is the new school would have
Yes.
that requirement.
But currently, that's not even, they're nowhere near breaking ground.
Right.
But now the
I
other
also-
side is,
Sorry.
the other side is that the whole flow is not all in the school. Like, I don't think it's reasonable to say that the upsizing of the pipes needs to be done because of the school.
Oh, no.
No, the upsizing of the pipes need to be done because there was development that was there before stormwater was really thought of as a challenge. And now we got to increase the flow. It's not related to the school.
No, I think the school's real impact is going to be streets and sidewalks.
Right, I agree with that. But we can't expect that, our stormwater challenge, to be the school's responsibility.
They have to do their own stormwater.
Right,
by our- yeah.
right. So really, the $1 million, we would have to probably come up with that. Don't you agree?
But I think right now you're trying to solve a problem by yourself, and I think you should look into the,
I'm not trying to solve it, I just want to have, we're talking about the idea and the project. If we don't have some sort of a work plan for it, it's just going to sit there. You all agree?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was
I mean,
thinking.
The other elephant in the room that I think Natalie is skirting around but isn't quite saying, but this is.
Stormwater fees don't need to-
Tell you what the problem is.
we're not
Water
covering
and
the
sewer and
cost.
stormwater rates have not been seriously looked at in years. They cannot support what's happening now, much less what the future holds.
I would say that water and sewer need to be looked at, but not as heavily as stormwater.
Now, stormwater. really needs to-
Stormwater is the one that we really have not,
No offense, Mayor, we had a 10-inch water main break right here on Bay Street. 5 years ago, that same valve was $1,000. It is $5,600 today's price. People do not understand the value of everything is, we used to pay $100 for a meter. New meters are over $300 a piece now. I put an 8-inch meter in at well one the other day. That meter was $13,000. People do not, I'm looking at ourselves, but Ocean City had a very massive water leak 3 weeks ago. That water leak, I would venture to say, probably cost them $250,000 because they had to repave Coastal Highway. We're very fortunate, but people don't understand it, and I'm only preaching right now because but the infrastructure we have, we're working with is.
It's old and it's failing.
And it's been failing, it's not that, this is.
West Street is in very terrible shape, stormwater and water. We've been very fortunate for as many years as town owned. Average lifespan of terracotta pipe is 50 years. If it was put in 1950, it should have been replaced in 2000.
Turn of the century.
So we've got 25 years after its life expectancy.
We also did have a rate study done 5 years ago. When was Gene here?
It was
5
an
years ago.
evaluation, it wasn't.
And the recommendation at that time was an increase. It's unfortunate. It's something no one likes to talk about, but it is simply reality. The price of things goes up for the town, just like it does for everyone else.
I mean, I would like to have a plan going into the next budget cycle, because I think we should try to address this instead of kicking it, but it does peel off the fact that there are other things that need to be fixed as well. So now, all right.
So we do have, hold
Yeah.
on. So we do have capital fees for sewer and water, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
which
And-
is already allocated in $1.5 million in here.
That's for the phase one.
That's for the pump station relocation.
So also those capital fees, I don't want to say all of it, but those capital fees have all gone into this 1.5?
Or will be.
Or will be.
There will be, we don't
But
have enough yet,
as-
there will be.
As Jamie said, when you think about the amount that's being served by that infrastructure, it's time to bring.
And it's, well, I'm not going to go on my stormwater thing, but this is also, stormwater is coming from
Oh, yeah.
Henry's Mill, Henry's Green.
It's coming from
Well, I'm gonna
Evans
say
Road.
this. I'm gonna open Pandora's box just a little bit wider for you, ladies and gentlemen. If we look at raising rates and whatnot because of stormwater that's happening on Henry's Mill, Henry's Green, Henry's, I'm just saying, Mary, and I have to say this because if I don't, I would not be doing my due diligence. If we're talking about raising the rates across the board, we better address some things
Flower Street, Bay Street, Maple Avenue. We better start addressing those things real, real hard if we're talking about raising rates and hitting these guys over here. I have to say that, because if I don't, I would not be able to sleep, and my door would be knocked on by tomorrow morning.
And to be clear,
So
when
think
I
about
was,
those things.
when I was saying that a rate raise needs to be considered, I was
No,
not
no, no.
just, I was
I
not
know
just
you were.
talking about this area. I was talking about the whole picture.
No, I know you are wholeheartedly. But if we're gonna do this, we better do this whole town with due diligence, friends, and that's opening a whole literal can of worms.
But I
So think
mean,
about that part too.
When you say that too, we can't ignore the direction that we've all asked staff to look at too, as far as additional maintenance
Of course.
responsibility.
Yes.
So those come at a cost as well. We can't look at this in a vacuum, but, all right, well,
So how does-
so.
But also don't
Uh-huh.
establish the past again, remembering how wastewater plant was built and how much was drawn into the bonds and grants. And when we were not appropriately charging for fees, we have drawn out of general fund and had a tough time
We had to write off
to
some of that.
settle
because it
this
just
back,
wasn't
and
gonna
we're
happen.
still not fully settled. So by just going to the banking mechanism, you have to think how you're gonna repay that. That's the first step.
And the funds that have the responsibility should be covering that cost.
Exactly.
But then that should also be sectioned out to the customers that are utilizing the service.
And I'm not here to rain on your parade, but the wastewater plant is 15 years old, just to keep a note.
That's elderly
I know.
wastewater plant years.
I mean, you figure there's motors run down there 24/7, 365 days a year.
You're right.
I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, if we're gonna bring everything up, that wastewater plant's 15 years old.
You,
There's another one that he's not saying too.
Keep it where it's at. But I have some ideas I wanna run by with Nick after, this week about some potential stormwater ways.
Yep.
But I wanna get Stephen and Nick to sit down with me, and
Okay.
so that will be, that's coming.
Well, let's not lose sight of it either. So I think the next phase of this, instead of phase 2 being the pavement and sidewalks and the pretty stuff, we need to figure out where the location of that off-land wetland or.
That's gonna be
retaining area
that is gonna be the key ticket.
Yeah.
We have to get
Nick's
that.
point, You can't
You
do
can't do
the
anything
streets
else.
and sidewalks without doing your very best to solve the stormwater first.
so where does I'm sorry, I don't want to keep harping on stormwater here, but
It's a big
it's,
issue.
yeah, but so where it is, and I said my little thing about stormwater, VP Burrell said his thing about the ditches and the ownership and the maintenance. So where does that part of this, because I'm just seeing this now as an opportunity, so when does that part of it coincide with the plan that we're trying to develop for the budget for FY '27? So what I'm trying to get at is I don't know how, unless you all have another way, that we ignore the request of that ownership ditch study or overview without it being tied into what we're doing for West Street.
It's not being
I mean, it's tied into
ignored.
everything. No, I'm not saying, but how do we, I didn't mean that it was being ignored. How do we not incorporate that into things like this, like on West Street and townwide that we're talking about West right now?
So.
Does that make sense?
No, let me make sure I am understanding. So Vice President Burrell asked about maintenance of ditches that the town has made improvement to or that the town owns.
Right.
And you're referencing the understanding of ownership townwide.
Yes.
So
But we're-
Vice President,
No, go ahead.
so Vice President Burrell's request and the council through consensus agreed that that project is being evaluated at the staff level. What additional resources would be needed, what additional equipment,
Right.
what would that cost, what would it look like?
Right.
The overall ownership of ditches and stormwater infrastructure townwide is going to be addressed through a RFP, which is going to be written but doesn't have funding associated with it. So we will likely get somebody to respond, and then it's going to come along with a price tag, at which time the council will have to make a determination of whether we pay for it and get the work done, or whether we kick the can. Does that help?
I mean, we could do
It
the
does.
RFP now, but without money to pay for
No,
the
no, I
study.
understand.
it's-
I mean, you're still gonna get a cost.
Yeah.
And then you gotta either say, okay, we're gonna do it or we're not.
I understand that, but I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is if the mayor, which I completely agree with, and I think Steve, I have a plan to go into the next budget year for this particular situation. But it sounds like, aside from the utilities, it's the stormwater that's gonna be the biggest hurdle. And if we're already doing a request from two elected people up here, when does those puzzle pieces fall into place?
So they're gonna fall into place when you get a line that says, these are the asks, and this is what your revenue looks like. I can tell you, your asks are already going, even with ditch maintenance being the least expensive or the RFP, you're gonna exceed available revenue. With,
Right, it could be
with
both.
either one of those.
Yeah, okay.
So by the time you stack that, plus this, you really, Natalie, have no revenue, right? To address the
Way
request.
over what's available.
By far, by 2 extra projects, and you can pick whichever 2 you want to throw on the list.
But and right now, those two are question marks.
I mean, all three, we can't afford either one.
No, okay.
Cash, are you asking to include those in this
Yes.
project? So it's all about.
I don't know how you can separate them.
I don't think
that what
though
you're
that,
Well,
that a mapping
I don't
of
know
all
about
of the
that.
stormwater facilities and their ownership, it goes beyond.
They're gonna be 3 separate things.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to look at it and say, okay, how are we gonna tackle it? You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You both agree?
I'm just trying to figure out the plan for the.
Jamie, you agree?
Jamie have an idea, but, I mean,
What's your-
we've
So the
been thinking
stormwater,
my
the
ideas.
stormwater for West Street, I have an idea and I want to talk with.
That's
Nick.
fine, yeah, that's fine.
But I think our biggest goal is to address Shanika's and Vice President's things. We need to figure out ownership. Before we do anything, we need to make sure we're cutting what is properly ours and then you all can tell us which route to go. Right now, we do not have a clear path to move forward.
So then,
I don't know how you want to fund it. We need to figure out, to go out for the RFQ, in my eyes, and I'm speaking as Jamie, we need to go out for the RFQ to determine whose ditches are whose and move forward. You need to direct us what to do.
but that,
The town staff would be happy to cut every ditch in town.
Yes.
That raises a level of liability and that we can't take on.
But the
And
other
it
side
would
is
be
the equipment.
irresponsible.
We don't
Yeah,
have the
yes,
adequate equipment,
exactly. In
and
some
we don't
cases,
have
we
the
don't have equipment.
adequate personnel.
But to be completely upfront, it is not a matter of staff not wanting to do work.
Right.
It's everything else that we have to consider when we do that.
and I just want to be clear that I never intended
No,
to say that.
I just wanted,
but-
I want to say it publicly.
But I think Jamie is, to kind of just reiterate what I'm trying to say is if the whole deal is the ownership of stormwater, I understand the RFP request is not a budgeted item, but that's the whole kit and caboodle, it sounds like. So why is that being, I understand it's not budgeted.
But it's not being withheld.
So, but where does that fall into the plan of working this into the town-wide puzzle?
Well, I think that they're separate though, because we know that RFP needs to be done, or RFQ, whichever route.
It
we
would be an
end up taking.
RFP.
Yeah, I thought so. That needs to be written, right? But we don't have the staff all the time to handle that as well.
I'm not trying to push it, I mean, I'm
No,
just
no,
trying to ask.
I know, but I'm just trying to explain, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not upset, and I'm
Well,
not.
I'm glad, I'm not.
I think that the answer
I'm
is
just
there's
making sure.
every intent of putting this in the FY +27 budget.
There, okay. bingo.
Every intent.
That's,
But if we get the RFP written beforehand,
will we release it?
then we would release it, but the understanding needs to come that.
You're
this
bidding on something
council-
that might not be able to be funded at this.
Correct, but what I'm trying to say is that this group, knowing the level of priority, that work holds, right? It's really the key to the puzzle. We need to find a way to fund it, right? Like, once that RFP is done, if it's done before FY '27, or if it's done through the budget process of FY '27, we need to be committed to fund it, because it answers all the questions.
I get that, right.
But that means that a fund that can't even support, let's say that the study costs $100,000. The fund doesn't have it, correct?
And even if it costs
What I'm trying to make sure that-
$10,000, let's get the study done, and
But-
then
but-
what? We're gonna sit it
I'm not-
aside.
But hold on, I
and-
want
Yeah.
folks to understand that the fund doesn't have the extra cash flow
It does not.
to handle it. So really what we're saying is that the fund would need higher rates, whether one time to cover the study or indefinitely to cover the study and additional work. It would be a fee increase. You agree?
Or a capital fee that would be set aside, just.
Is there another way though? Like, is there something that we're missing? I hear no in the audience, but go ahead. I mean, we're open.
To me, part of your problem is you don't know what belongs to who. And I don't understand how any of those projects that have been approved by the town ever did any stormwater evaluation without that knowledge. This is not just a stormwater issue, it's a general fund issue, because this should have been done before anything else. You should know what you own and what you don't own. And to not do that is, whatever the word is, that it's incompetent.
But we can't go back. We can
Well, you
only
don't
go
have to go
forward.
back, get that done.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. But the thing is that,
Do it with the general fund.
How so?
but it muddies
That's
it
the
because
question. How
based,
do you do that?
well, based on, you
I can't hear
can't. There, so you said use the general fund, and Councilmember Nichols said, how do you see that happening? And the finance director and the town administrator are saying what truly, it can't be done, right? Because without, if the general fund takes on, let's call it $100,000 of liability or debt or costs associated with the stormwater fund, it only raises the due to the general fund from the stormwater fund, which we had to write off a portion of that because, or was it just all sewer? Stormwater still owes its amount, but it's not there. If you take it from here, it's going to end up as a liability on the other side.
I'm not saying take it and have it be owed to the stormwater. I am saying this is a responsibility of the general fund.
But it's
It should have
not.
been done.
In
But-
government accounting, it simply does not work
We
that
can't
way.
do that because general fund revenues are derived for certain things. Stormwater revenues are derived for other things, like
You
this
didn't
project.
have stormwater for 8 years ago.
And that's why we're the problem we're in. Like,
Exactly, so that should have been general fund taken care of at that point.
but we can only move forward, and we're not allowed to use the general fund as the draw for that. So what I'm trying to get this body to know is that regardless of what the amount is, it likely will need to be covered in some additional way.
Like a stormwater capital fee.
Right, something. But we just we can't recognize that the work's important. Ask staff to do the work and then not fund it. I mean, that's
We-
the
we
Marie's
also-
word, negligent.
We
You know
also
what I mean?
can't put a request for proposals out there and ask legitimate firms to respond and then say, just kidding, we don't have the money to pay for it.
Without the understanding that we really need to find the way to pay for it.
Exactly.
So,
No, come on.
that's true, thank you, I appreciate that, but I think, Nick, you've gotten suckered into the.
I was
I kind of forgot that you were there, I'm sorry. So, go ahead and finish your presentation, and then we'll continue our conversation. Go ahead, sir, thanks.
Nick just sits.
Where were we? Sorry, Nick, we are on slide 8.
Before moving on, I guess, one broader question, phase 2, where we kind of stepped away from the presentation path.
A little bit, mild deviation.
That was fine.
Short detour. Should phase 2 remain as one block, or will that be discussed later to break that up moving forward?
That'll be something we have to discuss.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great question.
Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Phase 2
Yeah.
can't stay phase 2 in its entirety, we'll probably have to break it up.
Okay, and phase 1 should continue moving as is?
Correct.
Okay.
And new phase 2 would be the offline wetland of some sort.
And then do you want to make a phase 3, which is the water, sewer, streets and
It might
sidewalks.
be 3, 4, 5.
True, but at this point, maybe we can just look at it.
I think we should put a pin in that part because we just literally spent 1 hour and 10 minutes on that whole conversation, and this poor little dude was trying to get flattened.
Nick takes offense to poor little.
I am a junior, so I do that a lot.
It's a term of endearment. so-
Go ahead, slide time.
So, we've kind of discussed this a lot. Essentially, to reduce the flooding, we got upsize the pipes, you're going to need offline detention facility, and all that's going to increase the costs. Everyone's already kind of hit the nail on the head here. The actual location of that facility is going to be critical moving forward. The next slide is a little bit of a silver lining. So the bike lanes, the original intent and reasoning for the project was to install bike lanes. Through all the analysis, there is enough space as the road exists now to have 2 drive aisles and a bike lane installed. When you go to install sidewalk, that's when you trigger stormwater requirements. So the town technically could move forward with bike lanes. However, you're doing that at the risk and the knowledge of understanding you're planning to rip these roads up anyway. But that's a silver lining. The town can then take that into consideration if you want to move forward with the bike lanes separately from any of these phases.
So Chief, since now we do not have on-street parking on West, is there anything we can do to get that sort of scenario going, to get, just in the interim, to get some sort of path for walkers and bikers and whatnots?
You can, I would definitely go back and look at the actual width of the road and make sure that we end up with, minimum's gonna be 10 feet. And we got some streets that are a little, but you want 12, but again, do you have any idea what the width is currently?
Are you saying 12 foot for the bike lanes or 12 foot for the drive aisles?
28.
Yes.
We measured it.
28 feet?
28.
So again, 12 is 24.
In an ideal world, that's what you would like.
And the thing of it is, you probably won't have it all the way down, throughout the whole street. I guarantee you would end up finding it being smaller and greater at different points.
Right.
I mean, I love a bike lane, but I think it's going to make West Street really difficult to navigate.
Definitely.
Yes.
I mean, you all
Well,
agree?
the thing of it is, people are walking in the middle of the road right now.
Right.
And we would say it's not the smartest thing, you should not be doing it. Again, you have a vehicle, and again, that's yesterday, not today. But again, headphones, walking in the middle of the street, and that street's not really made for walking and riding bikes right now.
I was just wondering if there was a way, like, since we don't have the parking there now, to get
You're gonna
some
have
sort of
to,
walkway.
for the sidewalks, you're gonna have to get easements. You need to be working towards that path, because if you're gonna be putting a bike path and then you're gonna go ahead through the sidewalk, you're gonna be coming back, and people are gonna start getting used to one thing. You wanna go ahead and have it consistent, whatever you do.
Are we looking?
You don't wanna really change it up.
Are we looking in the resurfacing of West Street that includes the final project? Are we looking at adding bike lanes to that?
That
Or no?
would have been in the later phase.
I mean, I think that if we're gonna end up with a bike lane capability of like along the railroad, then maybe we keep the bikes in a safer spot and keep pedestrian traffic to foot traffic, but we have to understand that students bike to school, so, I mean.
Yeah, those schools, children.
And again, those are in a perfect world,
Right.
but we know that the constraints of.
Right, but I'm just saying that, like, I think sidewalks are more important than a bike lane. And I think that maybe keeping the dedicated bike and pedestrian stuff to the railroad, knowing that if you're gonna drive to school with a child on a bike that's elementary school age, you're likely gonna use the sidewalk, which I would do the same thing, right? I do the same thing. I think that having good adequate sidewalks is more important than a bike lane.
Certainly. It was just a possibility moving forward.
Sure. I'm not taking it out on the messenger, I'm just saying. Yes? Well,
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Stacy Kramer, I live on 1 Street. I work from home and I look out on 1 Street all day long. People are biking, all the kids bike to school. They are biking in the middle of the street all the way down. To me personally, I don't think a bike lane is gonna stop people from using the entire street. People use West Street because it's the back road If they wanted to use a sidewalk, they could use Main Street. I don't feel like even that is going to be like, oh, we're going to use this bike lane or sidewalk right now. They have Main Street to use a sidewalk. Nobody uses it. They use West Street because it's a back road. They don't, you don't see people taking their kids down Main Street on their bikes. I mean, you have to do one or the other. I'm opposed to both of them, to be honest, just because I bought my house on West Street because it's country looking to me and I have access to town. Putting all that in to me, obviously, and I live right across the school, so now I'm gonna have an entrance to a school,
Yes.
Sidewalks and a bike lane. To me, my opinion, looking out at that street every day, I don't know that a bike lane is gonna have these parents or children riding on the sidewalk.
So I think that maybe in our discussions, it got a little confusing, which is okay, because we talked about a lot of different things. I think what we're talking about is a street with sidewalks probably on one side. Is that correct, Nick?
That's correct.
So, but if we're gonna make the improvements to the street, it's practice of the town to add sidewalks where we can. So I don't think anybody up here is really trying to add a bike lane plus sidewalks, and we were just trying to make sure that that's clear on the plans, that it would be a street with sidewalks likely on the east side of the road.
I think part of what we're looking at too is the way that the
Along the
school
west
is
side.
talking
Yeah,
about.
but we were,
You're not doing both, you're picking one or the other?
I think that this is an idea as a discussion point.
Oh, okay.
But what we were just discussing with Nick is that likely what we would want to see is a road with sidewalks on the east side of West Street.
I think part of what we're considering too is
Is that
what the
correct?
school is talking about, how they're talking about reconfiguring front to back of the school.
Right.
And what the needs will be after that. And I agree with you completely. You can put in sidewalks, you can put in bike lanes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them straight. I turn on to Church Street every morning and there's sidewalks and someone's walking right down the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's true.
But we want to provide those amenities where we can, whether they choose to use them or not, kind of.
We don't see that on my street, because my street is an alternate.
So
Right.
28 feet wide, the sidewalk's 5 feet, right? So that means 13 and a half, or 13 feet of length on either side, right? I've got that right. My math's wrong, I think. But you can't have both, right? We were saying, we can't have a bike path and a sidewalk.
Probably
So
not.
if we have to pick one or the other.
And where's the bike path going to go? It's going to end at hypothetically Broad Street, which no additional bike path, or Buckingham Lane, which is
Also no additional bike.
right. So I mean, as nice as a bike path might be, what message does it send? Bike safely here along West Street and then coin toss the rest of the way.
You're
You know,
right.
but
Yeah.
I think it's better to invest in the bike infrastructure if we're going to invest in it along the railroad.
Understood. What I would say for the sidewalk, currently the way the sidewalk was being designed was an extension off of the existing road, so we're not going into the road itself. So you still maintain that road width
I see.
and sidewalks
Easement.
off of that
Okay.
via easements.
Yeah, and it is very important to remember that without easements,
Right.
you get into an entirely different conversation.
Are we going to do grass and then sidewalk?
To
Or
reduce the amount of easement required, it would just be sidewalk.
That's understandable.
But that is open to change because we
Can we-
still need 30 plus easements anyway.
Well, I
so.
mean, is there a way to infringe a little bit to Steve's point on the road width to add grass between the sidewalks and the road? And the reason I say that is because it's a little safer, knowing that I know people feel differently about an elementary school going, like an addition to a new elementary school and where it's going to go out, but grass between a sidewalk and a road is one extra layer of safety that I think should be applied there with little ones going to school. How do you all feel?
Well, I mean, it's like, it's the narrower it is, right? The safer it is because speeds stay down.
That's a philosophy. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I mean, it's a philosophy. But I think that grass, I'm not an engineer or a traffic study person, but I think that street grass sidewalk is safer than a street sidewalk.
Yes,
I mean,
typically that would be safe.
That would be
It's
safe.
farther away from the road. So yes.
I would rather see a smaller lane, travel lane, and grass between the sidewalk and the street.
Who maintains the grass?
Yeah.
Well, right now, it's the person that has the property, that person maintains the ground. And I see no, but it's not a new concept.
No,
If you
it
look
would
at
be the
Frank,
property.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Sidewalks.
Well, and that's what it is right now.
But what I'm saying is Franklin
Right.
Avenue is the same way.
For all of us that have sidewalk, we're
Yep.
responsible for maintaining our sidewalk, the sidewalk in front of our house.
Yeah, I mean, the grass section that's in between the road and the sidewalk is the responsibility of the property owner that has that residence. Yes? Yes.
So the sidewalks that you guys are talking about are on the side the school's on. right?
Correct, yep.
And then all those owners, are they all aware that there's sidewalks going on? Like,
Well-
I feel like.
We haven't gotten to that.
We haven't gotten to
point
that.
yet.
So I feel like one of the reasons I'm here is because all this information came out, and I feel like this is the first time I've heard of it. So like, I get frustrated a little bit because I'm like, okay, now it's in the bike lane, no. I didn't know what is decided and what's not decided at this point because.
So nothing has been decided.
This is all discussion.
This is the earliest.
There was no part in the mayor's council
Well,
continuing.
it can't be because you guys put no parking signs from one end of West Street to the
That,
other.
that's a separate issue. That's a separate, it truly is a separate issue from the rest of this.
Why would they
They're
not?
not.
We did the parking signs
And that was
because, go ahead, Chief. Go ahead, Chief.
I was going to say, that was a month and a half out. We've definitely been, speaking to the no parking.
But can you speak to the reason behind the no parking? Or do you want me to take it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we've onboarded the parking lot at West and Washington. And with that, to help prevent the further reduction in like the lane size during town events and making sure that public safety and you can get an ambulance, a police car, a fire truck to your home if needed. We didn't want people to just park and then stack the whole street. So rather than doing that, we wanted to put in through analysis with the police department, public works department, we looked at making the whole street no parking so that people don't clog the road and if you have an emergency, vehicles can still get there.
But you can still park on Washington?
Yeah,
That-
right.
One side of,
Yeah,
one side of
there's no
Washington.
way- You can't even get two cars on
We didn't-
Washington.
It's not, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but we tried to hopefully make sure that one thing didn't cause
But all
another
the way
issue.
down to Evans, like, I mean, I don't know, to me, like, that, the parking all the way down was just a shock to me too. Like, it was really just a shock.
And I hear that, but to the chief's point, we tried to advertise that and push it out as much as we could.
Where? Advertise where?
It was on social media, it's in our public packets, it was pushed out by various council members as well, that a discussion was gonna be had and that we were going to do that. The other thing is
It's a
that,
discussion, but it's already done.
well, the no parking is done, yes. However, this project is very much in its early stages. Like, none of this that has been discussed tonight, outside of phase one, is underway, right? A lot of that is still in the discussion phase.
A lot of this is because the mayor and council has talked for years about wanting to make improvements to West Street, but without some idea of a price tag, it was just an academic conversation. So we needed to get some dollar figures so that we could actually seriously understand, hopefully, a path forward.
Yes, and then we should let Nick go in a moment. We can still carry on with the conversation, but we should let Nick and Peter go. Do we have, hold on, like, can we get to yours in just a second? I promise I won't forget you. Anything else for Nick?
No, thank you, you've been sitting here.
Nick, thank you. Peter, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you all. All right, now this,
Yeah,
just name and,
I'm sorry, Heather Bailey, West Street.
thank you.
So it is a definite that the car loop on West Street for the new elementary school will be on West Street.
I would not use the word definite.
Okay.
It is the most up-to-date plan. However, the town is still engaged in conversation with the school system, and we want to understand the traffic flow more before we say the green light to that. We also are continuing dialogue with the school about the process for actually building the school, right? And what level of involvement the town's planning commission plays and all of that. So I would not say done or definite, but it is the most current plan.
Most likely.
And probably, as the chief said, the most likely, but our effort is to try and assist with mitigating those challenges as much as possible. So then, just next hand, Sarah, just name, street.
Sarah Henry, Washington Street. So we're gonna, it's been approved by smarter people than myself that 6 school buses will now go from Main Street and 100 parents will go to Washington and via to West Street. So that's a lot of cars.
Yes.
Yes. And, I mean, okay.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Well,
but
in
just-
the-
yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't, okay, pardon me.
That's not really us.
Okay, well, why is it not an us? Our chief
Well-
of police just said it didn't even make sense to him.
We already made that statement, and the school went that route to go ahead and move the school where they want to have it. Again, they're pushing it that way, and the front is
Right.
full, and
You're kind of the big cheese around here, though. I would think
not
that's
that
like
big.
you.
the Board of Education
Oh.
definitely their head a lot
Okay,
more
but I
say.
mean, you're
So, but
the
you're gonna
chief,
keep-
he's a mayor,
Hold on,
mayor
hold on.
council, we're a community. We have to have a voice
But
collectively.
all right, so hold on, so to unpack that just a little bit, we've got a school there, a new school needs to be built, I think we can all
Sure.
agree on that.
Yes,
A new school either needs to be built in front of or behind the old school.
okay.
And you have 3 groups of people that need to be able to get there and leave from there. Those are the school buses, those are the parents, those are the people that work at the school.
Thank you for
So,
explaining.
well, I mean, I'm just trying to make it simple for everybody. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but so they currently flow now, right? School buses are coming up Buckingham Road.
Right.
Faculty and staff are coming up Buckingham Road. People that want to enter the school on a daily basis are coming up Buckingham Road. They're either leaving and coming down Buckingham Road to Main Street or going out West Buckingham. That happens now.
Right.
The difference is that the cars queue up on Main Street. We can't really adjust the flow of Main Street, right? But the cars for parents will either continue to come up Main Street or they will probably come West Street. We got to figure out which one's better and how we mitigate that. I mean, we're in that discussion with you. We're not
Okay,
saying
good.
it's
You
about.
just said exactly what I said. So, except right now, we've got all the cars coming off Main Street, and maybe we could just do 6 or 7 buses on West Street, which sounds to me might be kind of cool.
So the school board's answer to that
Thank
is
you.
that the vehicles on West Street, that driveway
Yeah.
will be so long
Yeah.
that it'll take
And why?
Yeah.
30 to 40 vehicles, 2 lanes, that's not going to back up on West Street, is the claim that I read in the
Right.
report.
Which is consistent with everything that has been shown so far.
Right, so I'm not saying it's
No,
right or
it's-
wrong, but that's, is the logic that they have.
It's just
as
the
to why.
coming in and out of,
Right,
coming in and out of West Street.
But, I mean, but you can't say that that doesn't exist now, right?
Not
Because.
in front of my house.
What's that? I mean, my front yard was the school.
Correct,
So,
and you moved.
I still own the property. As a matter of fact, I may rebuild there. So,
It's available.
no, I don't know. It is for sale, but I love that property actually, and I would rebuild
It
it.
is. It's
So, one thing that I think important for everybody to understand is that those cars already go to West Street, through West Buckingham. Many people come and drop off or pick up, and Chief, how many car flows? They used to drop off on Buckingham Road.
Right.
They would come in Buckingham and they'd go out West Buckingham. When they hit West Buckingham, they're hitting West Street. So in many ways, those cars have already traveled that street. It's not something new.
Okay, so just in closing, the decision's been made, the decision is final, the community, the town, the chief of police, no go.
Nobody said that.
No, but nobody said that, okay. So
Am I
it's still
missing
like-
something?
Oh, you're talking about
The
for
design.
the school reconstruction?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't would say it's I mean, it is close though. If it's
Yeah.
not done, it's close. And I don't think that they are pivoting on that move personally because it has been
Okay, I
brought up.
agree.
I mean, I know, I was listening to a Board of Education meeting when some residents from our town actually went down and expressed concern. They were heard, but the plan is still the same.
Okay, thank you.
So
I
to be
appreciate
realistic,
that.
I think we should plan on that's going to be the.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think the other side of it is too, is that it's important to note that early on in the idea of Buckingham, the school asks, do you want the school there or do you want it moved?
Elsewhere.
Right?
Outside of town.
And we recognized as a town the value of having a school in neighborhoods, which is important. And especially when you look at the number of students that bike and the families that go and walk and pick up their children, it's important. So we understood that a new Buckingham is going to create challenges. But we want those challenges because we want the school. But I think we can work collectively, and we're not just going to take it and say we don't want any input. We are actively trying to be involved in that input process to make it the best that it can be. But to Steve's point, it's likely that the traffic flow will be the traffic flow. How do we mitigate it the best we can?
But I think we were blindsided when they developed that plan.
Oh, yeah.
We expressed our opposition to it at the beginning, said, no, that's not a good idea. And yet they went ahead and did
Yeah,
this.
you got, so Berlin was represented on the, well, this is going back, what, a year and a half probably. Two council members and the mayor were on the Buckingham Advisory Committee, that was my name for it, concept. And we just always expressed that was going to raise concerns. Because like everything you're saying is very logical, you know? Their answer to that, again, not to repeat myself, is just that driveway is going to be so long that it's not going to back up on West, but it doesn't stop what you're saying.
Getting there.
But the challenge with it too.
This way, the driveway would be just as long coming from Main Street.
But the challenge with it too, like, and this, I'm sorry, I missed your name in the middle. Yes, Stacy. So Stacy, so you said earlier that you like the country style feel and the back road feel of West Street. So that wasn't lost in the dialogue that Councilmember Nur, myself, and Councilmember Orris shared in the concept plan of Buckingham, right? Because when I said that the school either goes in front of or behind, you're looking at a footprint that requires a two-story school. So if it's then pushed, let's say we wanted the parent drop-off to be Main Street. To Steve's point, you still need the long lanes to queue the cars, right? Or to stack the cars. It would then push the school itself closer to West Street. So then you would have a lot of one-story homes with then this towering two-story school. It's not gonna, it doesn't fit, right? Whereas it fits a little bit better toward Main Street side because you have two-story homes and things of that nature. It's gonna look better to the eye rather than towering over the homes on West Street. So, do you get what I'm saying or no? Not really.
Yes, we do. Mike Gibson, also West Street. But just one flip of the question, if there was still street parking on West Street, I think it would be a little bit more difficult, like pulling this off, bringing school buses, all the parents and everything, because it just wouldn't have the basically width to navigate through. Now we're clearing the streets almost in a sense for those buses, for those extra traffic, like whether it be school buses or bike riders or buses or the parents dropping off. Like it's almost like we're working to assist what some of us here don't think is the best idea. So we're clearing the road for those school buses to go in this way. You know what I mean? As opposed to if there was parking on the street, they would almost have to say, or do we want to take these school buses down here navigating through people who park on the street?
I understand that perspective, but I will say that in all of our discussions, that wasn't a factor. It might, hearing your logic on it, might.
And bus is supposed to be coming on the other side.
Right, yeah, but I mean, hearing your logic on it, I can see your point, but we realized that we did not have that idea in mind when we made no parking.
Right on. But you can see how one definitely aids the other.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying.
And I would make one point. We're talking about the truck that has the trailer that's on West Street, that people are coming all the way out in the middle of the road getting around. We're talking about a business truck that's staying on the other end that people are going around into the roadway.
Yes.
So
those
are
But I'm aware of that as well.
Stacy's like, I'm not-
Yes. And then we have someone with a school bus that has figured out how to put all of his vehicles on his property.
No, believe me, I've had discussions with the individual myself.
All right.
All right, I have last question.
Yes.
Sorry. All right. Last question is, the road, you've decided one sidewalk, one side, no bike lane, right?
I don't think you could say that we've decided.
Decided.
It's like the working theory.
That's the working theory, okay, just summarizing. But that's after Jamie does everything he needs to do.
I'm broke, so everything I need.
What about the wind farm?
Water tower first.
I do think things when, in this setting, when it becomes presented, it's felt like it's decided. So I think that we can just kind of make that clear that, you know, we saw this, Thursday, for the first time, you know, the council. So that's why sometimes these things are thrown out and we're literally spitballing up here. You know, so sometimes transparency is ugly, and that's literally what we have here. It's just us having open dialogue, and I see why, you know, thoughts could be made that, you know, we're going to do this or that. It really is the beginning, I feel like.
That's also why it's labeled as a presentation and not an action item.
Right.
But, okay, and then we got to get back on track. So Miss Marie and then Stacy.
Okay, two things. One, will the upgrade affect the existing sewer levels where you connect?
Well, the upgrades are going to do better, but I mean, we've got to tie into what's previously there. So we will have to make adjustments and tie everything in as per plan.
And the other thing was, when, on the slide thing, it said the Berlin Bikeways project currently proposes a bike path one street to the west of West Street. There is no street west of West Street. What are you talking about?
I think that that's just an engineer trying to factor in something that we're doing that they might not be fully involved with. It is the Berlin Bikeway that would be along the railroad track, not a
Okay,
street.
well, that's where you get your money for the stormwater. There is no need, when you just talked about a bike path for West Street, you said, where are they gonna go when they get to Evans Road? Same question for a bike path. Where are they going after that?
Their goal would be to connect with Snowville.
How?
Through the same thing, using the railroad.
Berlin Bikeways is rails to
But
trail.
there won't be one there
What do you mean?
for a
I'm
long
sorry.
time,
What's that? I'm sorry.
a bike path.
Oh,
To
you're
Snowville.
right. That likely it would be sometime before that connection point would be there. You're
So
right.
to me, this is where we get our money. We get our money from all of these extraneous pie-in-the-sky dreams and put it into our infrastructure that is way more important than a bike lane on a railroad track. You still have never solved the stormwater issues of that. I know exactly how much the railroad owns and how far out that goes, and it's going to cover the ditch that is currently there. So you're going to have to do a whole lot of stormwater management along that line. To me, those kinds of things need to go until you do these things.
And I hear that, and I've also heard that quite a bit, like with the stuff with our Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods grant that's been in the news, that people say, oh, you can just use that $1 million to fix this, this, and this. It doesn't work that way because the funding there is a specific project using grant funds, right? So
Don't we
the
have to
same
match
thing.
it?
There is a small component that's a match, you're right, but that's not nearly enough to leverage it. It's less than 20% that's available
That's
for
money that could go towards our
I hear you. But the thing is that you can't use that total amount of the project to cover the other infrastructure. It doesn't allow us to.
So we're going to spend money because we can't, that's why we are in the position we are. Your whole logic is, oh, we're going to get this free money, so we have to spend this little bit of money. That free money is still my taxpayer money. It comes from the state of Maryland taxes. So use that or don't use it. You don't have to. Use our stuff and fix our stuff before you start doing other projects, because you're going to open up another can of worms.
I hear you with that, and the thing is that, what I will say is that this council and the councils that I've worked with for a number of years now have tackled a lot of infrastructure projects that are 1940s, 1950s, that have been neglected for a long, long time. So it's not like because of rails and trails, we're not fixing water wells, we're not fixing lift stations. We are doing all of those things.
But you've always put West Street last.
That's not
West
true.
Street was
No,
second.
This evening,
And your list.
So expensive.
no,
The original
we've
list
spent
was
hours
second.
discussing just West Street.
That doesn't, discussing does nothing. You've been discussing West Street for 10 years.
I've not, yeah, that's true.
You know, I've been around here for a long time.
But
I
we've-
know how long it hasn't been
But
done.
West Street has been there for a long time, to Jamie's point, it's not been touched. And this group has worked very diligently to be able to add just this analysis, to figure out how much it's gonna cost, and then hopefully develop a plan to fix it. We wanna make it better.
This group's only been together for 4 years, 5 tops. So, as I stated before, when I sat here, how did they do this before? How dare they ... To sit for anyone to come up and say, you all did. No ma'am, no sir, we did not do. We've only actively been together for 4 years.
Steve,
At the very most, maybe 5. I'll give us 5, just to be kind. Right here, I'll say 5. So the things that we've done since we've been together is we've undone a lot of foolishness that's been done in the past. So you can't hold us responsible for ish that was done long before we sat here. You can't, you really can't. And I can't, and I won't for another hour or two sit here and argue about what we didn't do. Because right now we're trying to undo some of those things, but we don't have enough money to do those things. We've been band-aiding this town for the last 40 years. I'm 50 years old and they've been band-aiding almost my entire life. You can't say that's us because that's not us. What we're trying to do is to sit here tonight and through dialogue, as Arusa just stated, did I get your name right, sweetheart? Because it's getting late. And I don't say this with any disrespect, but what we try to do when we sit here together, because we're not allowed to do it other than sitting here, is to converse about how to move forward with things. So when we sit here and talk, 7 times out of 10 is to discuss. We can't do anything without discussing. This is a discussion right now. We can't act on anything until we talk. And we are not allowed by law to talk outside of this setting. We can't. Because if we do, then we're in trouble and somebody's slapping us on the wrist and then we can't talk again. So, right now we're trying to discuss. And we've discussed this same project and we can talk on that if you choose. But we've been talking about this same project for 1 hour and 72 or 42 minutes. I've watched the clock. I'm not saying that we can't, and I'm not disrespecting anybody else, but that little dude was just here with a discussion piece. There was nothing actionable about what he discussed, what he brought to the table.
For 30 minutes was what it was on the agenda for.
And it was an hour and 40 plus minutes.
Because it's important.
And it is important, but I don't want anybody to lose sight of the discussion part. Nothing was actionable tonight. We have to discuss it in order to move forward for the next step. Nothing was actionable.
That has nothing to do with what.
It has a lot, Miss Marie, and I say that with respect. It does, because you're saying, what I hear you saying, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I hear you saying right now is, how dare you, you guys have done this. We did not do that. If you mean the body as a whole, means the town of
I never said how dare
Berlin.
you anything, number one. Number two,
I'm
you
reading
as
the
a
minute.
body represent us. And whether you've been here for 4 years, I've been here a lot longer and listened to the same kinds of
From other people.
The same people.
So,
From other people, right.
and I just think that you need to listen. And
We're
I want to
trying.
hear your
We're
rhetoric.
trying. We're truly trying, Miss Marie. We're trying. That's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to listen to what you guys have to say as a community, because if you believe it or not, we're truly here trying to represent this entire town as a whole. We're trying to hear what you have to say tonight. We're trying to hear what our neighbors have to say to us when they knock on our doors tomorrow, or when they call us in the morning, or when they email us when we leave here. We're trying to bring all of that here right this minute to discuss those things. We're not trying to discredit what you're saying, but you have to give us the grace to try to make this work, because that's what we're trying to do. We don't have the money to do all the things, but we're trying to do most of the things.
I've watched Flower Street get sidewalks on both sides. I've watched Washington
We didn't,
Street.
that was a grant. That was a grant many years ago, wasn't it, Dave? That wasn't us, that was a grant years ago. And we didn't, and the people on Flower Street had no say on that at all. So whatever.
But the other side is
We didn't.
the nice part about the work that, and we're getting ready to lead into that with the reconnecting communities and neighborhoods. The nice part about that is that to sidewalks, right? That grant is more than just overcoming 113. It includes developing a plan, which we're going to get ready and do with community input about how people move on foot, on bike, how we make that safe town-wide, right? But I think that the important thing is Ms. Marie, we know you're passionate about it. We know Stacy, you, like all the residents of West Street are passionate about the flooding. You're passionate about the ability to drive on a good road and to have good infrastructure. We've got it. We want to make it better. And I think that this did not include, the presentation did not include public comment. But I think it's been good for all of us to be able to put that stuff out there and work together, right? We might not see eye to eye on everything, but I think it's important that we have that dialogue. So, if everybody, I think Stacy, you had something you wanted to say, but then I would like to move on to our next agenda item. Is it okay to move forward?
Yeah, I was only gonna say, like, my personal did not understand that this was not already decided.
Okay.
I will apologize for that, but
It's
if
okay.
I thought that
No
was-
apology, no,
Yes.
you don't
But
need
and
to
Stacy,
apologize.
look, I sat in the audience for a year before I joined the council. I know it can be intimidating to say something. I know that sometimes we move fast and it's difficult to follow along. I got it. But the important thing is that you showed up tonight and you asked questions. That's really the most important thing.
Thank you.
But please don't apologize for.
Please don't. And don't, when we speak, it's not that we are angry or we're directing or we're saying you, but at the same time, when the fingers are saying, or when the verbiage comes to us saying you mean the body, not the folks. Because, again, you know what I'm saying? Because, again,
Yeah,
since-
it's nothing to be taken personal.
No-
I was
no doubt.
trying to speak for Ms. Ray.
Yes.
But, yeah, she's speaking obviously as the body, like not as you as individuals.
Right. But the entity that sits before you has done their due diligence in trying to undo a lot of tomfoolery that has taken place in what is the town of Berlin.
All right, let's move on to number 5. Agenda item 5 is an announcement, and it does regard reconnecting communities and neighborhoods grant. There was a poll vote taken.
Hey, can I speak on this before you go any further? Because I did make a poll vote. Now, mind you, Shanika Nichols doesn't always follow the right channels and
No, it's
roadways
fine.
and pathways.
But I always ask for the poll vote, because a poll vote is really an email vote that
You can't hear
sometimes.
me?
I can hear you, but you're not speaking into your microphone.
I don't have one.
All right, so for the poll vote, the one thing I always ask with these is if there's anything that we would, or anybody that would like to correct what is here as far as their vote. So Councilmember Nichols, did you want to get into that first?
Well, yeah, because I did vote. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And it's not showing.
Can we
I'm not-
move you to an aye?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
all right. So then we'll, I think Vice President Burrell, he's not here tonight, so we're going to keep that as absent. He can correct that in the minutes if you would like. But the vote for this is 4 in favor and 1 abstention or absent. And that's Vice President Burrell. And what this is it's for a poll vote that was taken in between our meetings. So it allows, the Maryland Open Meetings Act allows us to be able to poll if we can't get the group together in between town meetings. And what this is a quorum reached to move forward with approaching Worcester County regarding MDOT funding opportunity. MDOT has offered Berlin $643,000 from a repurposed 2014 earmark, unused Astig Island funds, to replace the rescinded U.S. Department of Transportation RCN grant, which was pulled back with the big beautiful bill. The required 20% match is $128,000, and it can be met using the county rails and trails funding of $113,000 and Berlin's budgeted match of $100,000. Combined with $250,000 from the Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods Phase 1, these funds would advance design, investigation, and the initial work for a bridge, or to bridge the highway for the Berlin Bikeway. So with that, the additional comments from the council members are there. The important takeaway is that we received, what, Sarah, $1.2 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation, Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods Grant. We were working in phase one, $250,000 of that funding was obligated. Then we were also working on trying to advance phase 2 and 3, which would utilize the remaining $950,000 of funding when it was pulled back with the big, beautiful bill. Then we pivoted and tried to work with our partners to figure out how we move phase 2 and 3 forward. MDOT brought this solution forward, gave us what, 3 days to turn it around?
Just about.
What was it? Yeah, about 3 days.
Yeah, we learned on Tuesday morning.
So we did a poll vote, and the council approved using the funding that the town had budgeted as a match of $100,000. Then the county, $104,000. And then the county agreed to use the remainder to help us hit the match level of what,
128.
There you go.
So 24 from the county.
So with that, that's a synopsis of where we stand, but the project's moving forward.
And if I could just
Go ahead.
add one thing to say that the project, the reason that we were eligible for it is because the project is already federalized, so the money it's federal money being used for a federal project. It's not fungible, it's not the kind of thing that you can take and just redirect to something else. Additionally, the money that was in our budget, that has been in the budget for years carried forward for the Berlin Bikeway from the county is related specifically to bike and pedestrian safety and bike and pedestrian access across Berlin. So we're meeting the intention of the original funding and continuing on with the project that we are already working on.
And it was a nice way to pivot and continue to move forward.
So, but I just want to clarify that we, the county rail trails funds, or one of these, is not a full, we asked for more, they only gave us like 24,000.
Yeah, I think that was a misunderstanding because, what's that?
They had already given, they have
Right.
already given Berlin 130.
But they're just saying 24 goes to
They
this.
just said we could use 24 for this match, and I'm sure we can go back and ask for the additional funds to be used also for this project at a later date.
And I think that just came from a misunderstanding of the commissioners. I think that they saw it as a separate project, that I don't think they understood that the Rails and Trails is actually in RCN, so it really fits 100% with the intention of funding. But either way, we are very grateful that they.
Right. Oh, yeah. And I just wanted, just for clarity, I'm not changing my vote or anything, but that first comment from Commissioner, that's from me. And essentially, I didn't know that we were going to be presenting at the commissioners like the next meeting.
We didn't know that either
So-
until that morning.
Oh, okay. So really, anything after I approve this measure is moved at this point, but that's just for clarity on that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know that either until that morning. All right, any other discussion regarding the agenda item 5?
I had one question.
Oh, yes.
Again, like it's in West Street. Is there a diagram or like, I guess, like a map of this plan, like the Berlin?
Not the Berlin Bikeway?
Yes.
Yes.
It's outdated.
It is very outdated. We're working to try and update it, but we do have like a concept plan. And if you share your information with Sarah, we can make sure you see it.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem.
I think, thinking about this and its title, I think
And
it
you know
can
who
be
Sarah is, right?
Yes, I do now.
the title for this, this Reconnecting Communities, Neighborhoods, Bridging 113. When we talked about this before, and even when we broke it into smaller work groups, Miss Marie, you were at St. Paul's Church tonight. Miss Marie, you were at St. Paul's Church tonight, and we talked about this.
I don't know, I can't hear you.
I'm using the microphone.
No, I know, I didn't hear what you were talking about.
The bridging the communities. Remember, we were at St. Paul's and your statement was, and this was one that I wanted to make sure that a larger group of people heard. When you look at that, you see the title, and the title says bridging, and you automatically think they're talking this bridge. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean quote unquote a bridge to connect the communities. Now, the statement that you had made that night when we were at the church was one that I thought really deserved to be heard again, where you said not just building this one bridge, quote unquote, as the title states, which I think we don't have to be that literal everywhere, everybody. But
making the connections as in, I guess the closest kind of example would be the kind of what we see in Westo, right around the outlets, you know, the little bridgy areas around the outlets, and then on the other side of the street where it goes around Taylor Bank and Francis Scott Key. If something, not exactly like that, but something of its nature ran along that 113 corridor, not just at that Bay Street area where we had the fatality, but I mean all up and down is what you had mentioned, and that could also spread the wealth, for lack of a better term, of bridging from over by AGH across to the Food Line area, the Bay to or the Bay Street across to Main Street, Berlin, and then, I mean, honestly, if we were fortunate enough, if we could even get down to the Germantown Road area, because that, if you want to be serious, technical, that is the most deadly section.
Those 3 points are
Yeah.
all in what's going to be studied in phase 1 and
Right.
involve community input as well.
Well, I mean, I knew that, but to voice the statement that she had made that not many were present to hear, I feel like I don't like this. So I'm only doing this because you keep saying it, but I'm making it clear. I don't like talking into this
You
because.
can back up a little bit, though.
She feels like you're getting out.
There, I'm back.
So, but the nice part is, I know a lot of people fixate on a bridge.
Yeah.
But the nice part is, that's what got it funded, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you're looking at a list of all these different potential grant solutions, right? For the RCN category, bridging the highway that divides us is what jumps out at the folks that are reading just the title.
Yeah.
And that's what got us funded. So it doesn't say that we have to do a bridge, but it does say we are going to explore what it takes to be able to cross and get One Berlin, which is in our strategic plan.
Right.
So, all right. Reports. Item 6. We're only an hour behind. But it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It could be worse. It's true. We could be 2 hours behind. Town administrators report and any department.
I do not have anything, but I know that Jamie does have something he wants to mention.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yes, I'll be quick. September the 25th, Buckingham Elementary School, the lead service line replacement program, William Street, Broad Street, Bay Street. If I'm not mistaken, we would love to see some of the council there. We will be hanging door flyers, handing out notices. We need the people's signatures to proceed with going on the replacement program.
September 25th, that's a
Thursday.
Thursday? Are you doing this in the evening?
Yes.
At the school. It's at the school.
There will be a lot more information going out about this.
But we have to get it.
Time, Sarah?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
6 to 8.
Something like
About
that.
an hour, like 6 to 7 is what we were factoring.
Yes, but we're hoping to, we will have some staff on there to assist with signing the consent forms and stuff that Dave has approved for us to get moving with this. So September the 25th, 6 p.m., Buckingham Elementary.
Be there.
Be there and be square.
Please.
But to be clear, this is primarily geared at William, Broad, and Bay, as those are the first 3. William is the first street, Broad and Bay will be the next.
And we
Bay
might as well
across
just
the
push
highway
out.
or Bay just on the.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yes.
Might as well just push out that we're
Well,
going
go ahead,
to.
Jamie, if I said that wrong. Bay,
Broad, William Street, Broad and Bay.
but is it the whole length of Bay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
So, Kate, Laura, can we push out a quorum notice as well? Because it's likely that we'll.
Already on the
Perfect.
website.
Thank you, you're on it. Anything else, departmentals? Any of you, go ahead.
We have 4 bulk pickups for a month.
Ah, very nice.
Paid bulk
Paid,
pickups.
paid.
Wow.
Way to go, Jimmy.
It's going from 1 to 4 in a matter of days.
All right, anybody else, departmental? Okay, any questions from the council for the departmentals that are in the?
Question for Tim, I see you started replacing meters. Do you have a schedule that you could publish or let you guys know when you're going to be there?
We're actually in the beginning stages of replacing the existing meters with AMI meters. As of last week, we finished Willows of Berlin Apartments, except for the clubhouse that takes a special meter for that one. And then we finished Maple Avenue and Schofield Street and a little bit on Flower Street. The company is actually going to be here this Wednesday, and we're installing the devices basically throughout town that talk to the meters. They're called gateways. So until they're installed, they cannot communicate to the meters as we install. But they're coming here Wednesday. We're going to be out and about putting those in. And then my thought was the transmitter was actually installed at Schofield Street shop. So we started working our way from that direction heading outwards, because the meters talk to each other. As you plug them in, it talks to the meter that's closest to it. So we're going to go from there and go down Flower Street, both directions, go towards Cannery Village, do all of Cannery Village, work our way back up towards Uncle Willie's and then Branch Street. And as we're going along, we're actually putting out outage papers ahead of time, so the customer knows well in advance that we're going to be changing the meter out. To change a meter normally takes 2 minutes. You pull the meter out, you stick the new one in. And we were noticing that the new meters were locking in within 5 seconds, that quick. And right now, I think with the meters downtown and what we did and finished last week, I think we have about a total of 198 that are in now. So as soon as we get these devices installed to where they speak to the meters, basically transmit back and forth, at that point, we'll get a better plan on how we're going to do things. My plan is right now is to do everything on the east side of Route 113. Decatur Farms, all of, Flower Street, Cannery Village going out of town. And then from there, move over to the other side of 113. Because the equipment is installed now, so when we put it in, it actually starts transmitting right then.
That's cool.
Yep. And we've done a few remote disconnects, for transfers and that type of thing. And the girls feel empowered in customer service. They can just push a button. We don't have to go out there anymore. So it helps on that end, as far as, like I think one lady was turned off, and by the time she got back home, it was back on that quick, within seconds. So it does its job. So we've got a plan going forward. It's going to take, I would say, once we get really rolling on it, it's going to take us about 3 to 4 months to have everything, installed. Because especially when we get down to the commercial customers, we have to work with them. We don't want to go in shutting the power off when businesses are running or restaurants open, that type of thing. So there'll be times that, we may have to come in after hours or on a Sunday, that type of thing, to work with them so we don't impact their business.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Departmentals? Okay. All right, let's move on to comments from the public. Anyone that would like to address the mayor and council? Yes.
Hi, Meredith Hidlowski, resident Sterling. Just real quick, Jamie, you said you were throwing everything out there, so I'm going to throw this out there too. When you're talking about, and this has nothing to do with any of you guys or the planning department right now, when you talk about ownership of the ditches, there's an issue of what's been allowed to be done in the past that's created a lot of flooding issues and things that I can show you right now. But I think, so when that comes up as far as trying to decide who owns what, it's got to be more of like what's responsible for what, because there's been a lot that's been done where there's been no code enforcement, or there's been permits issued for huge sheds, swimming pools in the drainage ditches themselves. But just something to throw out there with everything else that you guys are talking about.
Thank you. So not just ownership, but if something's in the middle of it.
Exactly. It's like the whole thing connected.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council? Yes, just name and street name.
Sarah Henbury, Washington Street. Is there a giant compilation list of all the infrastructure needs the parking lot needs, is there a big old list somewhere that says these are all the things that we need to take care of?
We have a, like a capital, what's that? Capital improvement plan for each department. But it's, and it should be about 5 years out. Some departments go further, but that's like a reoccurring list. Does it have everything on it? Maybe not, but it's
Sure.
got most of the items.
So all these things aren't really as shocking as it comes across? Like,
What things are we talking about?
the last meeting I was at was, hey, we just need to pay the parking lots, but we can't because we need $1.5 million for the infrastructure. And then it's, hey, we can't fix West Street because of ditches and all the big things. So
Right.
is there like the big old list of,
For the most
our
part,
town
yes.
is very old and these are the things we need to take care of?
For the most part, yes, but
Yeah.
it's probably missing stuff as well. But for the stuff that we know about, it is not lost. Each one of these department heads keeps that capital improvement list.
It's very daunting list.
Well, look around. I mean, we cover a lot of ground.
You did, but we're also getting a new town hall and a $40 million community center, so these things are a little, it's a lot.
They're on the list too.
It's a lot, yeah.
All right. Anything else? Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council? Okay. Let's move on to comments from the council. We'll start with Councilmember Merritt.
I just want to thank town staff and police department for the cards you sent, pushing me to get well quickly. Appreciate it very much. It worked.
Anything else? Councilmember Nichols?
I just said, nothing to say.
Okay. Councilmember Ward?
Well, first I want to just kind of thank everybody from Western Washington and everybody who came out here tonight. I think it was a great discussion. It just goes really to show the hard work that our department heads do, and I think I can speak for everybody up here that we rely on you all to give us the accurate information to go on. But, so I just want to thank everyone's hard work on that, and I know I harp on stormwater, I'm not going to go on there again, but I think we all get that picture now. I do have 2 questions though, and the first one I just wanted to see, is there a status on the tree downtown lights, uplights?
The old ones are down.
Right. Okay. Well then, hey, there's big steps.
Literally?
The old lights are no longer up there.
I'm talking up like.
They're down. They're down. They're down. Did not miss a beat on that. But we do need a little bit, we're looking for some additional funding. We have a strategy, but it likely will not be deployed until the end of the fiscal year because we want to make sure that the funding truly does exist. Is that correct? I'm looking at Tim and Jimmy because those are the pots that they will likely come out of. But we want to make sure that Tim's got some money and Jimmy thinks he has some money, but we don't want to use Jimmy's money until we know that we're good on the fiscal year. Could we get some of them done? So I wouldn't advise that yet. I would say let's stick with the strategy. It'll likely be
Ivy is
after.
shaking some trees.
Yeah, we're trying.
Literally.
But keep running with it, I guess. But I mean, we've got a plan, but I asked Jimmy to not use his money yet until we know that he truly doesn't need it for what he thinks he might need it for. So we've got a plan.
Okay. Great.
But right now, the tree lights are down.
Yeah, I know, that's okay. And then my other question was from 2 residents, and then it turned into like 9 overnight, which was awesome. I love hearing from folks. But can someone just give a brief overview, I don't know who to go to, so I'm gonna throw it out, on fire pits in yards?
What about them?
So, I mean, I went and did my own reading, but I'm gonna rely on our folks. What is the rule on fire pits in yards in town?
Brian, we'll start with you.
And please use your microphone.
And then Chief will go to you.
Okay.
So they are permitted. I'm assuming you're talking about,
Well, let's not name folks. Just-
yeah, no, I don't even know their name.
Okay.
But somebody did complain to our office that they were stopped. Somebody came to their house one evening and told them they were in violation, and it became this whole issue, I guess. So it was brought to the attention of the fire marshal. They got involved, and it was just a fire pit. They are permitted.
But, well, hold on, I don't know. The town code, I think, says no burning unless it's approve, right? Is that correct?
Not, not, yeah, it's open burn. So like houses
Our code-
and things like that. You can have fire pits, those are allowed.
Barrel.
Can't burn your trash.
No.
Right, you can't burn your trash, you can't have a bonfire.
Right, you
and I
can burn
believe-
pile of leaves, but a fire pit is permitted.
Chief, are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Because I think it's, but hold on, I think that, because the question came up previously, not involving this.
Yeah, no.
But our code says something about like no burning unless it's approved, and I think it doesn't.
I actually think that was changed because they let maybe the small pits.
A fire pit is considered not much different than a barbecue.
Could be a lot of violations then.
I'm not, and the reason is, it came up through dialogue with our police department, and they said, look, y'all don't really have a clear answer.
And that's
for it.
entirely possible, that may not be clearly defined.
Right, just like our, like, fines
And we
and
may
stuff
have,
associated.
we may have
with
taken
it.
liberty with that and said,
Well-
well, it's not that different than a barbecue.
Yeah, but I think that the code says no burning unless it's permitted by the planning
Yeah,
department.
if there was a code that says it was not permitted, it might have been changed, we'll see, because when Shanita received that complaint, she did look
Did
into
you
it.
find it? Well, let's revisit that.
Yeah.
At our next meeting, let's revisit
That's
that.
that's
And I
a
understand,
research.
I understand that with the fire, there's the smoke, which also goes around. So I just wanted to know.
But
what
trash
is the-
you cannot
Oh,
burn no
well,
matter what.
Yeah, no burning of trash. We're not that. We're not that.
Not yard waste, not trash.
But yeah, so
No
if,
leaves. You can't have a bonfire,
Like,
like,
yeah.
just open fire in the middle of your yard.
like a homecoming. So anyway, that would be great if we could just have some clarity for next meeting.
Okay.
I mean, please, because this is s'more season right
It's getting
now.
No, I agree, I've had my fair share of s'mores in Berlin.
No, I am not being
No, you're
facetious,
not.
I'm
This is
being
the time
very
of year that
serious
people
because
enjoy that.
if somebody's getting told that, then good Lord, who's next? Are you gonna come knocking on my door? Because Shanika will sit next to a fire pit in a minute to relax. And I need to know, show me the clarity, please, I need to know.
We'll look at it on our next meeting.
And it's possible that we do need to better clarify the definition.
Says within corporate limits of the town except by special permit from the director of planning and zoning, no outside or open bars or burning of any kind shall be permitted.
That's what
So we gotta get, so everybody has to have a permit to have a fire
I
pit.
know,
A
I read the
business.
code. We need to fix it.
We do it.
Because there's a difference
There's plenty.
between.
I could have Dave Gaskell writing an ordinance today.
But no, but
and
I
not
think,
put it in.
but there is, I mean, but our town is a community, right?
Yeah.
And there is coming together with family and friends around a fire pit that is truly a fire pit. And then there's burning your scrap lumber, your
Right.
leaves, or your trash. And we gotta differentiate.
Yeah, I
can
think
certainly
outdoor
explore-
burning is different than a fire pit.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But it needs some strengthening
I think
to
the
provide clarity.
clarification.
We can explore how other towns have clarified that and incorporate language.
And then,
Put it in the folder, Ryan.
thank you all. And then my only last thing is I want to publicly thank Jamie and his folks for fixing my meter in the yard.
You don't have a business that does that?
Uh-huh.
Your HVAC.
No, this
No, this was the meter
this
cover.
was, my business was not able to assess it. But thank you.
You're welcome. I love
I don't know.
Don't do it again.
And then, all right, we'll move on to comments from the mayor's office. Oh, Steve, sorry.
Like, usually I do pass.
But, man, I thought that you had went already.
So we had a
Going out
park.
twice, I guess.
Yeah. I only have two things really. One was a comment. I appreciated the attendance that we had at the parking committee meetings. Well, it's merchant meeting, correct?
Yep.
Because I thought we heard, it was actually very productive. I think we heard some strong opinions about paid parking, but I was glad that we were able to address the word on the street that it was a done deal. And we were asked that point blank, and we were able to make that clear that it's not a done deal. That very similar to tonight, with the West Street conversation, we were really having a dialogue and trying to hear all good things, and I think some good things came out of it. So that's all. I'm glad we had that meeting, and I hope I know we will have another one. And then just one other thing was an update. In the mayor's bulletin, in the Berlin Bulletin for this month, there was some talk about a SHA, I was a little bit surprised to see, I'm happy to hear, I think I am, that SHA may be doing a feasibility study of Older City Boulevard for sidewalks.
They are
Could you
doing-
explain that a little bit more?
So after, we maintain dialogue with SHA, and that's one of our projects that we continue to advance. I think Shanika mentioned that that was the first thing that Mark discussed with you at MML. So after the community members came forward along Alderson City Boulevard and said, look, this is an issue, we passed that dialogue along to SHA, and they said we actually have engaged consultants to work on sidewalks on Old Ocean City Boulevard. So we have touched base with those consultants. I think they want to start in the winter, right? Or
It's sort
start
of
in the fall and be done.
studying.
Right.
They do it, they have it here while
in their
school
order.
buses are running to get that component
Right.
considered.
But they wanted
They
to
said
be
it
done by the
should be
winter.
done in the winter, but before the end of the year,
Right. And the other side of that
Calendar
is
year?
calendar year.
2025. The other thing is that we still want to move forward with helping move the project along with the surveys.
Right.
We still want to do that. That'll still be a town obligation because it's not like they're going to be involved in the study that they're going to do. Is that correct? Give or take?
I'm not entirely sure yet, and I really think, I think what we could do, and what the town should be doing, is probably more on the easement side, just reaching out to those 10 property owners.
Yeah, but that's-
Easements. But in terms of the surveying, I think that might be part of what they're conducting. So we just need to make sure that we're not duplicating efforts.
Right, I agree with that.
One,
But either way, we
they
may-
haven't started yet, so we don't.
Okay, that's what I was
They just
wondering.
haven't started yet, so we can't figure out what they're doing until they get started, but we're on the top of their list.
And the key is they have staff to do this, we would
Right.
have to hire someone.
No, I thought, so what is the feasibility study determining where the easements are?
We have not seen the scope of work.
That's what, okay, so we just don't know at this point, but we know.
We have not seen the scope of work. We have shared that we want to be involved, and we
Right.
have shared that we want to understand the easements that exist.
Okay.
But, and that we're willing to help if it's not a component of the work that they're doing already.
So the timing of that was kind of coincidental?
Yeah, it really
That-
was.
That's what I'm trying to like, just piece it all together, like how we got to this point.
But through that conversation, we're also looking at other ways that maybe we can try and connect Old Ocean City Boulevard to Broad Street. And we're looking at that possibility as well.
And I will say it was coincidental, but not to go unnoted, that the mayor has been asking SHA.
Right.
And have been keeping this in front of them.
It's been in our
For-
CTP plan for
Yeah.
years.
Oh, yeah.
But it also helps to having the residents, because it's one thing for us to beat the drum, it's a whole other thing to say, look, we've got this, and we shared all that information with
Yeah,
us.
no, I think
It
so
all
too.
adds.
I mean, having a petition with 3 dozen citizens. So the bottom line is, for anyone listening or wants, I might provide an update to them, is that the ball is still moving forward as we discussed that night, but we actually had, SHA was kind of coming at it from their own angle without, okay. And then as far as our study, will really be contingent upon what SHA is doing with their evaluation.
Our work would be really survey work
Yeah, okay,
at this time.
okay.
We might be able to help in other ways to advance the project, but right now, what we're looking at, does their scope of work involve survey work and determining whether the easements exist, or does it not?
Okay.
And if we can help, can we?
Okay, cool. I appreciate the update, thank you. That's it.
And then comments from the mayor's office, go ahead.
I was just going to make sure that the council members know that I get to represent Berlin in Louisiana this week. I'm traveling to attend a Reconnecting Communities Institute, so it's a technical assistance program for all of different working groups of towns and cities from across the country that have received Reconnecting Communities grants.
And talk about how it's funded.
Yes.
And it is, yes, it is completely funded by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
They haven't taken that money yet.
They haven't taken that money yet. It is all travel, everything is included, all from the Reconnecting Communities Institute, paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
So Sarah, is the thought that while you're there, you'll get the ideas, some notions, some inclination as to how we as Berlin can do our reconnecting, bridging, blah, blah, blah?
Yes, I think especially because we're in the community engagement and we'll be working into the community engagement portion, phase 1, that I'll be around other communities who are further along in the process and have already done their community engagement, so I'll be able to learn just different ways that they've been able to be more successful.
That's exciting.
And some of these grants were actual construction projects, so you'll get to see like what the next
Yeah,
leg
yeah.
of it looks like.
That's exciting to see that, to see what it's looking like from the different things. I can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah, and for Berlin to be on the same stage with all cities. I'm going to be with people from Seattle, Connecticut, and all over the country. So I'm very excited.
And people talk a little bit about like, why are you spending this amount of money on the planning and community engagement side? Ours did include a little bit of like getting stuff designed and construction ready. But really, we didn't come at this on a whim, right? We have approached through the state and through congressionally directed spending requests, capital money. And we keep losing the ability to get the capital money because we don't have this in place.
Exactly.
So they kept saying, great project, great idea, great suggestions, but you're missing a key component. So when people say you're going to spend $1 to $1.2 million on a study or design, you have to. If you're going to ever get the sidewalks, the improved lighting, the street plans that we want, or even potential funding for like projects like West Street. You got to have those things in place. So, good job, Sarah.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
All right. The only comment that I was going to have was the one that Steve stole on thunder. Now I know why it's so subconscious I don't want to skip you.
It's
The meeting that we had with the merchants. Yes, with parking. Councilmember Nur, Councilmember Green, and I serve on the parking subcommittee. Councilmember Orris was in attendance as well. We had a great turnout of merchants. The mayor's office and economic development hold merchant meetings regularly. This was a special meeting with the merchants to be able to discuss parking, aside from the new parking lot. A lot of folks did think it was a done deal, similar to tonight. They thought that because it was a discussion item that it is a done deal. I think that it's kind of just a way that people perceive the fact of how government has to operate. We have to be able to have this dialogue, as Councilmember Nichols said this evening, together, and that's really the important part. But then engaging with the community here in this meeting, and then also through the merchant meeting, a lot of good ideas came of it. We left with more merchants wanting to join the parking subcommittee discussion, which I think is crucial. All of us realize that it's a big issue that we can't tackle with one perspective. We got to have a group of us coming together. We had conversations with private landowners that we use their parking for public parking, right? We need that perspective. We need the merchant perspective as to how changes in the way that we operate with parking are going to impact their businesses. But overall, it was really great conversation. I think that we're going to lead to something really good. We have $1 million to $1.2 million in capital costs coming up, but it's not we don't have to tackle that all in one fiscal year, and we just got to come up with a way that we can chip away at it. So as Marie said, we don't just do nothing, right? But good meeting. So that's the nuts of that. Comments from the press? Nothing?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. No, but taking Vice President Burrell's motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Oh, my legs are. I didn't know I had a while.